Some bitch.
Demonetized right off the bat. Y'all infidels, we're burning witches tonight. Not even Smokey the Bear is going to be able to save your ancestors this time, you stupid moron.
Someone in the comments picked him with the band-aid. That was good. I'm sorry, that was fucking good. Anyways.
Well, that's my job as a woman, I think, first and foremost. And then as a writer, I gotta maintain some level of like, making sure that, your place.
Everything that they've done since claiming the PS5 is for hardcore gamers. It's just simply appealed to the casuals.
That's about it. Follow me on Twitter. Preserve film, just like preserving video games. I don't know.
Hunter! What's up? In the White House? Seriously?
Well, Marvel and what Stan Lee, I think, I don't know if it was genius or laziness. It's like, we'll just put them all in one city. We won't even make up a fictionless and we'll just use new.
Fear of the night, what you got coming up for tomorrow?
I'm perfectly sober.
Lies.
Thank you. Are you home? Do you have children? Must not you be their hope? Are there future generations from all of us who have failed them?
And the mom shaming, a term typically used to highlight harsh judgment of birthing people.
Fuck these stupid fucking retards.
Who wrote this shit? Who wrote this shit?
What up, ladies and gentlemen? We're back here, episode 73 of the Barroom Podcast, and I'm joined here once again with my lovely group of cohorts joining me here for another Tuesday night of Barroom. Absolute trash discussion about Disney stuff, and I've decided to dedicate an entire episode to Disney. So if you don't like Disney before, we get ready for at least 2 to 2.5 hours of it. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And starting off our show here is our good buddy Cider. How you doing today, Cider?
I am in
That's great. So next is our good buddy Cold Classic Cage, who is still recovering from our Friday night movie night from a couple of nights ago. How you doing tonight, Cassie?
I'm convinced now that you make streams specifically to get under my skin. It was that stream Friday night that was like, oh my god, I want to die, I want to die, I want to die. And then this Marvel Disney all night tonight. I was like, bro, I literally thought to the moment at the end of Ghost where like the bad guy, the glass hits him in the stomach. I'm like, oh my god. That's literally what happened to me, and then my soul is just looking to be released, and that just dragged me to hell already, bro.
Now there's time for that. We'll wait a little bit later on, and then also joining us here tonight is our good buddy Orange Beanie Reviews. How you doing today, Orange?
Wait a minute.
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Yeah,
I'll give you that one.
We got a lot going on tonight. We're going to try to squeeze as much as we can. And hopefully with these lovely group of people, we can actually get through quite a few topics here tonight. And we'll go ahead and introduce our guys. We're in the chat. We're live, by the way, on YouTube, Rumble, and on Twitch, all 3 platforms tonight. And Spencer's already here. First, I'm going to say Echo, because we're going to talk about Echo tonight. And yes, if you thought that I was kidding about us dedicating an entire 2-hour episode to Echo when it releases at the beginning of next year, nope, that is 100% going to happen. So yeah, join us here tonight. Vanya also saying good evening to you people here tonight. Our good buddy Neil Zoic has a question to start off the show. It says, howdy barroom crew and the good folks in the chat. Fun question. Which prison escape film would you rather watch? The Great Escape or The Shawshank Redemption?
There's only one right answer, and it's not present here. Escape from Alcatraz, damn it. How do you not go with the man, Clint Eastwood, baby?
Fair enough. Out of these two, I think I would have to lean towards Shawshank. But yeah, it's probably a slight edge towards that one. I don't know about you two. What about you, Dad?
Shawshank, definitely. I mean, I watched that for the first time with my mom a few months back, and it's like, damn, dude, this movie is pretty freaking good. I mean, it tells a pretty powerful story. It lost to Time Cop, but only because its marketing was bad.
By default. Cider, have you seen either one of these two films?
Yeah, I've seen them both, and I gotta tell you, I know I'm gonna get flack for this, but I really prefer Stallone and Schwarzenegger in The Escape Plan. There's just something about a giant tanker being a super tanker being a prison that just blows my mind. That is the coolest thing in the world. Why aren't we doing this? Why do we have Guantanamo? We could just put them out in international waters and threaten to sink the thing if they don't tell us what we want to know. Come on, why do we need to waterboard them? Just put the sinking alarm on. They'll tell us anything we want.
Dude, I am convinced somebody sat in a Hollywood writing room in the pitch meeting and just said, let's remake The Cube, but let's put Stallone and Schwarzenegger in it. And it was like, genius, we'll give it $50 million. Go.
But then there was another guy at the end of the table, and he was like, wait, but they're on a boat. Like, yes.
Get that man a raise.
Speaking of Escape from Alcatraz, I still maintain that The Rock could be an unofficial sequel to that.
Yeah,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson is a sequel
No,
to it?
the actual.
No, the movie The Rock with Sean Connery.
I mean, to be fair with The Great Escape, you know, it's still a great fucking film in its own right. Steve McQueen is a fucking beast, man. You think to him, like the one thing you think of is him on the motorcycle, man. He was a fucking beast.
Yep. And then Neil Zoic. Go ahead.
I think that's where they got the idea for, I think it was a Die Another Day where 007 bursts out of the glass. They got that idea from McQueen on the motorcycle, right? It seems pretty reminiscent of it.
Yeah. And I'm assuming that Neil is going to ask this question for you guys. Because, I mean, if you've not watched the show on this channel long enough, you already know the answer to this question. But which Mon do you prefer, Pokemon or Digimon? I am Digimon all day, day, as Nelly like to say. What about you guys? Which Mon do you prefer?
Pokemon, baby.
Pokemon up to Gen 3, and that's it.
Huge Pikachu fangirl.
Nothing beyond Nothing beyond Gen 3 Pokemon.
I gave up on Pokemon after Gold and Silver, so I don't know what generation that is. But yeah, immediately after that one, I was like, okay, I'm done now.
Gen 3 takes place after Gold and Silver, or is the next one after Gold and Silver?
All right.
Damn, no Ruby Sapphire?
No.
That is the one. That's the gen that I.
Well, let me get Cider's answer to this, and I can explain my question even further. Which Mon are you picking here, Cider?
I wrote close to 15 years worth of Digimon fan fiction, so you know.
Oh my god!
Power Rangers, Digimon fan fiction, as well as some other things that aren't as colorful.
Yeah, that's why you're on top bunk tonight over these two Pokemon losers we have in our chat with.
No, none of it was sexual, you weirdos. I saw that look, Cassie. No, none of that was like that. No, I wasn't. No. See, what I liked about Digimon in particular was that it was just kids. They were just kids saving the world. That was interesting to me. There wasn't an adult mentoring them like Zordon in a tube. It made them different than Power Rangers. They were literally eating meat off of trees. And I just found the whole thing fascinating.
Fuck?
So wait,
Yeah, they
you've
had-
never written like a softcore like Power Rangers like Skinamax like fan fiction or anything?
No,
like that?
I read like 4 of them on fan fiction, and it just creeped me the hell out how obsessed they were with the spandex. And I was like, why would you fuck in the Power Rangers suit? Why would you do that? There's just the sparks. You just start a fire or something. Don't do that.
Okay, then I guess it was just me then. So fine. I mean,
Whatever, dude. There's a whole porn genre in Japan dedicated to Super Sentai porn. I shit you not. I ran across it on
That's
Google
why their
on accident.
population is on the complete collapse right now. I
true.
believe it.
They're fucking too porn addicted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, for me, it was like I got into Pokemon right when the craze started. I think it was like 98 when it started here in the United States, and I bought into the whole blue and red. And then you always had that one weird kid who had green for some weird reason, even though it wasn't available in the United States. Every elementary school had that one child. It was like the Pokemon Green and that one holographic Japanese Charizard card that people still fight about to this very day. And then I was like, okay, cool, 150 Pokemon, I could become a master. That's great. And then next thing you know, it's like, hey, we got another 100. It's like, oh, okay, that's not too much. 250. Now we got another 100. I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm done. and then it's like I drove back around like the shop like 15 years later, be like, that's still going. And like, how many is there now? Then last I heard, there's like literally 900. And so if I
like
tapped out,
1,000.
yeah, I believe it. I mean, if I tapped out at 250, you can only imagine like now hearing that there's 1,000. It's like, wow, you guys are still buying into this.
I mean, I completely beat Yellow, and I had all 151 with because I also had Mew.
Yep.
And it's like, it took me at least 3 years to get it that way, man.
I'm old enough to remember the duplication code with the Game Boy Color, where you had to switch yours like off and on in order to duplicate stuff. It was like, yeah, only the real ones are gonna remember that one.
Oh yeah,
Poor Mew's doing that.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Who else we got here tonight?
Got my old Digimon cards. You see?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I still have
an ancient Mew.
I still have the little figurine that Spencer sent me, except for it's over there on the shelf. I don't feel like getting it right now, but it's still there.
Oh, they weren't right side up. Oops.
I had an ancient Mew back in the day when that thing was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get a Missingo? Missingo? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Vidramon.
Remember
Vidramon? What a fake out that was. Were you pissed when they did that? I was pissed when they did that.
Because they made it seem like they were building up to that. They never did. Like season 2,
Digimon, fuck you.
Season 2 of Digimon may be my least favorite series out of them all. Upon reflection, like I don't remember like hating it that much, but upon reflection, that one does not hold up at all. I might even choose Frontier over season 2. That's how bad.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's how serious I am about
the
how
world
bad
for us all. Jacob, slow down. Jeez.
Duke Nukem has a question here. Do you think Echo will be a mid Disney Plus show or a dark gritty show? We're actually going to save that one for later tonight because we will be talking about it in full detail here. But a little spoiler answer: no. That's the quick answer to that question. But
1021.
That's
Pokemon?
The number now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Sounds about right.
They put out a lot of god Pokemon that don't like show up in the Pokédex until you bump into them. So. Yeah, that's probably.
Imagine putting like 25 years into the Pokemon game on the original, like guys. If all you need is 150, and you'll be a master, and then 25 years later, you're still trying to require like 1,061 more. It's like, oh my god.
You guys remember that Pokemon Go game that they had, where people were walking into traffic trying to catch a Pikachu?
You mean?
There was a guy in San Diego a handful of years ago who literally walked off of a cliff and died because he was playing Pokemon Go.
Oh, it gets better. Don't you remember the coughing that showed up at the gas chambers at the motocross memorial?
Well, now Pokemon Go is for lazy fucks now too, because apparently after the whole COVID situation, it made it to where you could just catch shit without going anywhere. So
there was a
come to you.
Purpose.
Yeah.
There was a when I was living down in North Syracuse, there was a person who actually walked into traffic, got hit by a car, and the person saw that they were playing Pokemon Go. It's like, was that fucking Pikachu worth it? Freaking smacked the dude after he hit him with the car.
Pokemon Go to the polls, yeah. I remember. That's funny
Oh
because
my God.
I was at a celebration for legalizing weed in Maine. We were up in like a semi-industrialized town, not the capital or anything. And we were just celebrating. And a couple of guys and I were out standing on the street. I was a photographer for the event, so I was taking pictures. And we're all gathered outside. These guys are smoking, having a great time talking about it. A dude rolls up in a Toyota and he says, "Is this where the Raichu is?" And I looked at him and I said, "No, this is where the free weed and pizza is. You want to stay?" And he says, "No, I got to get that Raichu." And he drove off. And I said, "There's no hope for that, man.
Joe.
There's no hope. Free weed and
How do you-
pizza wasn't enough."
That's crazy, bro. People take
Yeah.
that shit too seriously.
Yeah, they drive around in their cars looking for Pokemon. Like, it's one thing to walk around like getting the exercise, but like, bro, I got to go 2 towns over to get that Raichu, bro.
I gotta
It's
drive
a
40
fucking
miles to
Raichu.
get that.
Nobody gives a fuck about Raichu. Like, what
Maybe
the fuck
that
is wrong
dude-
with you?
I don't know. Maybe that dude wants to fuck it. I don't know what you can do in that game. I never played it.
And then you have Spencer being the one weirdo in the chat who even remembers that Monster Rancher was a thing at any point of history. You guys remember
No.
Monster?
Hey, you're lying if you didn't want to boink the flying demon girl that had a crush on him. You are lying if you didn't want to boink her.
I don't even remember, or I don't even know what you guys are talking about there, but
You're not alone. Let's just put it that way. Tactus Jones saying The Great Escape with the question earlier. We have Kate's in the chat with us tonight. Rob's coming listening throughout the course of the show. Our good buddy Top Dog is here with us right now. Alex versus Evil. Tactus says he's never cared for either Pokemon or Digimon 2 Juvenile for me. Well, apparently you didn't grow up during that elementary school craze where people were fighting over Pokemon cards at a very young age. And good to see 25 years later, nothing has changed.
And
so
murdering
that's
over
probably
Pokemon cards.
yeah, we've escalated to murder. That's the only difference. What do you think about the future of pop culture? It's like, we'll get to that here in a second.
See? This is Pixie. That's from Monster Rancher. She's the only reason why I watched Monster Rancher.
why does
I
she
don't
look
know
like she
why.
has something in her pants that shouldn't be there?
I don't know.
I think you.
I mean, that is kind of low hanging.
Well, I mean, it is Japan, so I wouldn't put it past them. That's
There's
all I'm
no
gonna say about
bulge.
that.
I don't know. Maybe she has a
The
long
shadow
vagina.
can make it look like
I
a
don't know.
bulge.
She's a demon. Maybe they have long vaginas. I don't know. But anyway, this is from Monster Rancher.
Drax the Clown joining us here tonight. Make sure I get everyone a quick little shout out here. Who else do we got here? Kate, obviously, my turn on as bad as She-Hulk did. Yeah, we'll talk about that here. Is there a way you can do an Echo live stream, live reaction? I don't know. Maybe, possibly, it'll have to be a separate show. But yeah, that 2-hour bar room for Echo is happening. It will be coming in a couple of months here. And then what else do we have on here? ZZZ also joining us here. In the chat, and I want to make sure we got everyone here. Drax the Clown with a controversial take: Yu-Gi-Oh beats them both. My thing with Yu-Gi-Oh is that I remember watching the series up until I think Yami fought what was his name, Malik that one time.
Yeah.
And then I remember like stopped watching like right after that, so I had no idea that there was like a future battle of him and Bakura. I never watched that till like 10 years after it happened because I didn't know it was still going on. So yeah, but there's a whole thing.
I wanted to get into Yu-Gi-Oh, but I just couldn't do it. I
did.
got
I
hung
was-
up on.
I
Well,
was
I
big
kept
into
getting
Yu-Gi-Oh.
hung up on the fact that nobody around here gave any shits about it. Like,
I got
nobody
into it
around.
heavy, man. I had all the best cards. I had the Egyptian God cards. I had the Exodia card. I had it.
Oh, they have
all.
an Exodia's penis card now. Someone went and made a fake Exodia's penis card. It's even got the chain wrapped around it, pulling it down and everything. Yeah.
I
Yikes,
almost got
dude.
into a serious fucking fight with someone at my school because this motherfucker stole my Yu-Gi-Oh card, all right? And the reason why I knew it was mine was because it was one of those Yu-Gi-Oh cards that came with a Game Boy Color game. So I
Yeah.
was the only motherfucker who had that game, and he stole the fucking card, and all of a sudden he appeared with it. Bro, I almost fucked him up. He knew I was so pissed that if he didn't give me that shit back,
You can
he
send him
knew
to
that
Shadow
something was
Realm.
gonna happen. So he gave it back to me.
He literally was going to send him to the Shadow Realm.
Send you to the Shadow Realm, motherfucker.
I went full ignorant that day. I was in like the fourth grade.
No, like, dude, like I said, I've seen people get like literally like 10-year-olds getting the fist fights over Pokemon cards back in my day. So yeah, I believe it 100%.
Oh, yeah. You remember that kid that got shot over the Charizard card, don't you? You remember that, don't you?
You know how rare that Charizard is? I mean,
I think it's worth. I mean, it might be worth killing someone for it. He's dead.
They banned him at my school because they kept bidding fights over it.
Yeah.
Over it.
Yeah.
Can't bring your Pokemon cards to school.
No,
I hated that.
when they'd say
There
that.
was a kid I was babysitting one time back when the Pokemon craze was very in high swing, and he had a bunch of Pokemon cards, and he was a little prick, man. And I told him, you keep on misbehaving, I'm going to cut up your Pokemon cards. And he's like, you don't even know where they are. Oh, you mean these ones? And I just lifted his entire book full of them, and I'm like, I'll start a fire right now.
Damn.
Behave.
That's how you make a supervillain.
The kid actually went to his parents, and he's like, he threatened to cut up my cards. Well, and his parents were like, why were you misbehaving?
Rob here says that Pokemon cards are like crack. It's like, no, crack has caused less fights than Pokemon cards. I swear.
Yep.
Oh my god, Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball. I didn't even know they had
all of
card
them,
games for those two. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they had one for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, but not
Shaman King had one. Shaman King had a trading card game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're not anybody till you have a trading card game.
Kabuto?
I'm sure there's a meta.
You do that strictly by your name.
I will say this though, like it reminds me of that Shogun Jump era too, like when it first came out. Because remember, like when the Yu-Gi-Oh TV series was on, and then they would have like the Shogun Jump comics that were out there too. So I remember reading like the Shogun Jump comics, and it would be based on like what was it, the series like season 0, I think what it was called unofficially, the one that didn't air on WB Kids because it was like way too hardcore. Where like Yami was like literally killing people.
He's a murderer. Yeah,
straight up killing people.
It's so badass. You gotta watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0. It's so badass.
The one where he like forces the guy to like pour the liquor into the bottle, then just leaves a lighter on his hand and walks away, and then watch him like literally burns to death. It's like,
Holy shit! I'm gonna have to check that out. Where can I find it?
Yeah, she's pretty dope.
No, like when they said Shadow Realm, like they meant the Shadow Realm. It's like they were
you're gonna
fucking
die,
around.
and like it had next to nothing to do with cards. That's the other thing. It had next to. And then all of a sudden, season 1 came along, and it was like card games on motorcycles.
Oh god, yeah, I think that's when I stopped. Like when they were doing card games on motorcycles, I was like, yeah, this is a good point to tap out right here. we're not getting any better.
Yeah, I'm good on all that.
Man.
All right, well, we had a nice time going down memory lane there with our old anime shows from like the late 90s and early 2000s, but now it's time to switch this show back to Disney because we need to talk about a whole bunch of MCU news that broke out this week. So this is pretty much going to be like Disney week here on this channel. I think we should start off with Kang the Conqueror, or as I like to say here in the title here, he was Kang, but he's no longer Kang. Jonathan Majors is seemingly now out, as has been officially confirmed now that his agency CAA dropped him after the whole domestic dispute thing. And this is significant because if you know the ties that CAA has with Disney and Marvel, all of the big major Marvel stars are represented by CAA. We talked about this about a month ago, how CAA is the biggest Hollywood agency in the game right now. So if they're dumping you, that pretty much means that almost everyone has given up on you at that point. It's not a good sign here. And now they're trying to figure out where they're going to go with this entire MCU thing, because they literally pretty much mortgaged the next like 5 to 6 years of their future relying on Jonathan Majors to be Kang the Conqueror and to lead this multiverse saga of all of these television shows, all of these movies. And now that he's gotten in trouble over an alleged domestic abuse incident from Brooklyn earlier this year, they look like they're going to pull the plug on him, and they're trying to figure out where they're going to go with this whole thing and what is next for the MCU. So it was announced about a few years back that Kang was going to be the main villain. He was going to be essentially the new Thanos in the MCU. Jonathan Majors is going to play the character. There was so much hype about a year ago about Jonathan Majors and Kang the Conqueror. Spencer remembers this very, very well, about how every single interview that was done up to that point was hyping up Jonathan Majors and his performance as Kang the Conqueror. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumanium, the film that came out earlier this year, was all in on Kang the Conqueror. They thought that people were going to absolutely love this dude and that they was going to be so enthralled that they couldn't wait to see more Kang in the MCU. They had the Kang Dynasty, which was supposed to be the next Avengers film that was already announced over a couple of years ago. That film is now in the hiatus because they don't know what direction they're going to go in creatively now. If they're going to have to recast Kang the Conqueror as a new actor, or they're just going to give up on the whole thing altogether. Now it seems like they're shifting away from at least the actor at this point in time. We still don't know the future of the character, but because Jonathan Majors plays such a huge role in the future of the MCU, they have no idea where they're going now. They have no idea what they're going to be doing over the next couple of years. They had this whole thing with the Deadpool 3, which I believe is still filming, even though it may have been paused because of the actor strike. They don't know how exactly that one's going to play out, because what the MCU likes to do is that they like to essentially have all of their storylines mapped out over a series of television shows and movies. But if one angle ends up being dropped, and it ends up affecting essentially several television shows and movies simultaneously. Majors, it says here, was already a big presence in the MCU and Ant-Man Quantumania. He was in season 1 and 2 of Loki. That was supposed to be a big tease for his character. The film was, like I said, the Kang Dynasty was supposed to come out now in 2026. It was initially supposed to come out, I believe, 2025. It got pushed back for a couple of reasons. Now it's pretty much up in the air whether they're even going to move forward with that. There is rumors out there saying that they could end up skipping that film altogether and going straight into Secret Wars, because, I mean, at this point, they really don't have much of a choice. As you know, the MCU is losing a lot of money right now. Their projects are just failing one after another. The TV shows are not hitting. The movies are struggling right now. We'll talk a little bit more about the Marvels here throughout the course of this show. And that, you know, they're in a bad way. They're in a very bad way, because now they're in a position where they thought that this gravy train was going to ride forever. They thought that people just going to watch endless superhero movies. No one was ever going to get tired of it. They didn't have to put in any effort. And now that well is dried up, they're looking at their future slate and going, oh, we're screwed. So I want to start this one off with Orange Hat here and get your thoughts on this whole situation. What is your thoughts on Jonathan Majors being out as Kang the Conqueror, and what do you think about this, the future of the MCU at this point? Like, what can they possibly do to salvage this thing? They don't have a lot of options.
Ever since I started as a YouTuber, my first video was the MCU is basically dead. After, or when they started with the Captain Marvel crap that they were doing. Yeah. But it's been slow going 4 years. I mean, it's still dying. But here's the thing. They wouldn't be dying. They wouldn't have this problem if they didn't believe and practice cancel culture. If they would have said, these are allegations against him, we are standing behind him in solidarity. And once he is proven guilty and not just assumed guilty, then we will take the action against him. But no, they got to worry about their image. They got to worry about all these whiners. Here's what they didn't understand. You got this maybe 2,000 or 3,000 vocal minority people bitching about it. They can't boycott anything. They tried. They fail all the time because they're always going to watch the stuff. Then you got the people who will boycott you to the point where you lose billions of dollars, and they just don't give a shit because you turned your back on them. So there's that too. There is so much that they did. It's basically they did it to themselves. I mean, Jonathan Majors, he got accused of it. And, well, it may turn out he may actually be guilty, but I'm still waiting for the actual verdict first before I would have made a choice. But the MCU has also been going downhill since the end of Infinity War. Their movies beyond Infinity War started going downhill. I mean, heck,
Thanos
even a
won.
little bit before Infinity War. But they just keep on going. They just keep on saying, "Oh, we're going to keep it going." You might as well do the hard reboot because you got that incursion arc. They got the incursion arc going on right now because of the multiverse that they're doing. And well, here's the thing. The incursion arc literally ended with an ambiguous ending where fucking Doctor Doom saves the multiverse. And it's like, well, just bring him in, fuck the universe up, and have him save the day. There you go. You got your hard reboot. And go to town because nobody fucking cares anymore. They're all saying, this is just gonna, or we got it planned for years ahead. Have you not noticed the sharp decline in profits? I mean, heck, you haven't been making profits, with exception to Guardians of the Galaxy 3, in your entire MCU arc of this year. So I don't know what you're talking about. Now, Kang, originally comic book character and game character, was a badass. I liked him in the games that I played where he was in it. But this stuff that they got now is just vomit inducing.
It's bad. Like, I think after Endgame, they really thought that they were going to go in a new direction. And you have to remember that before the pandemic, they were going in the direction of our new leaders is essentially going to be Captain Marvel, aka Brie Larson. They had a big bet on Black Panther, and I can't remember who the third one was. I know
Tom Holland.
Yeah, I think Tom Holland as well. So those were the characters they were banking on in the future. Then the pandemic hit. Everything got shut down. Then not Brie Larson, Scarlett Johansson had a huge falling out with Marvel and Disney as a result of the whole we're gonna release this on Disney Plus instead of movie theaters. Then obviously Chadwick Boseman died, so that whole character went under with him. And then they were looking around, it's like, wow, we really don't have anyone interesting as far as the heroes go here. And I know we told Brie Larson a few years ago that you were going to be the leader, but now that we're looking at the reality of that promise that we made to you, it's like, it's not really going to work the way that we thought it is. And like I said, they got nothing now. And we're going to talk about just how bad this is here in a second. I want Cassie to chime in on this. Like I said, the MCU is flailing and they're desperate for ideas and they just don't have any at the moment.
Yeah, to me, I think Jonathan Major's personal life is more entertaining than entertainment itself. Like I'm interested to see if he's guilty or not, and the fallout with all of that. I don't, while I don't necessarily keep up with it, I would like to hear more about that than anything MCU, and I think that speaks to the state of this franchise. Everything but the entertainment is actually entertaining. Watching Disney collapse is more entertaining than the actual, quote unquote entertainment. I mean, it really sucks for them that this whole thing is falling through, but I don't feel the least bit sorry for them. I couldn't give a fuck less. You should have. I mean, this just further proves that you should have just left off at Endgame and called it a wrap and just started with I don't know, building it. Ideally, if I was in their situation and just thinking of how can I make money, well, just start a whole new thing from scratch or centered around X-Men and build off of that. That would have been at least somewhat refreshing. I would have hated it because I mean, I understand what is important to Disney in modern day, but I'm just speaking from an interest perspective. Just starting from scratch with X-Men and building off of that would have been far more, at least, engaging for the viewer to be interested in.
Yeah, and Cider, I want to actually this guy I talked about this I think on the Black Pill last week. It's like if you really look at everything that's happened in post Infinity War, they were given kind of a layup with Infinity War because you had this ending where okay, we're finally gonna fight Thanos, and then Thanos really just kicked our ass and handed it to us and wiped out half of our team. And instead of what they what they ultimately tried to do is that they essentially hot-shotted the story there by, instead of going over like another few years of like, okay, we fought Thanos and we got our ass kicked, like how do we recover from this? They basically tried to wrap up everything in like one film, and by the choice of doing that, it told the audience that, okay, hey, look, we were prepping this whole thing up for this fight over the course of the last 10 years. Now it's happened, so there's nothing really here left for us here. Like, we've already concluded the story. So and the problem is that they have not found out or not thought of any interesting story outside the one that they were spent the last 10 years coming up with, because like I said, they thought that, oh, everyone's just gonna love Jonathan Majors as Kang, and then we'll just use that to jump everything. And look, even before his whole legal situation, Ant-Man 3 wasn't a big draw for anyone. They lost money on that one, and then your lead star ends up getting arrested for, apparently putting hands on a girl in Brooklyn. So now here you are back at square one. There really isn't much for you to do here. Where do you think Disney can go, where they should go, now that Majors is pretty much out of the picture?
I never thought Majors was going to stay. I don't know where people get the idea that he's talented. He's got a good Dr. Doolittle kind of Eddie Murphy late 90s kind of shtick where he can play anything kind of okay, kind of believable. But other than that, he's not really like a Robin Williams character where you can throw him in anywhere and he knows what he's doing. He's really more of like he's a good CW actor in my opinion. He would have done really well with the Arrowverse.
To me, I think I even said this a year ago. Like, he just feels like one of those like NYU theater actors, like ones that takes himself way seriously than he should be.
Right. So the way to fix this, and again, I'll make it really quick because it's really quick. It's really easy. They want to get into Secret Wars, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. All right. Loki. He's still the Loki we had from blah, blah, blah. Didn't go through all the character growth. Okay, cool. Agent Smiths. He casts like an Agent Smith spell onto Kang and takes over Kang and all the Kang variants. That kicks off Doctor Doom because a magic user being an army of himself in the multiverse catches Doctor Doom's attention. They do a bit of battle. Some goofy shit happens. Battle World is kicked off. There you go. You're in your Secret Wars. We're done. Very simple.
Yeah.
That's like 2 Loki episodes. That's like 2 Loki episodes and you're into Secret Wars, guys. You can do it this weekend. This weekend, you can do it. I guarantee you can get it done. I believe it.
I believe in you. But no, I think Neozoic had asked us this question like earlier regarding like this whole thing. It's like Majors is out. So I think the other option that people are saying is that, okay, well, instead of doing Kang the Conqueror, let's just jump straight over to Doctor Doom. Here's the problem. Fantastic Four, as far as a movie franchise, really hasn't worked like ever. Like they had a couple of movies. But here's the setup though. Like they had a couple of movies in the 2000s that were okay at best, campy at worst. No one really took them too seriously. Then you had like Galactus Cloud, so that didn't work out very well. They tried to reboot it, and the reboot was significantly worse than the movies prior to that one, to the point where it literally destroyed the career of almost everyone involved, with the exception of Michael B. Jordan and maybe Miles Teller as well. I mean, you haven't heard of that director who did that movie since. I think he's been blacklisted since that whole film. So you're trying to introduce Doctor Doom, who's going to be associated with the Fantastic Four, but you haven't shown anyone that you can do Fantastic Four on the big screen properly. And then with some of the casting decisions that have been leaking over the last few months, you're not really exciting anyone to reality that, hey, we're going to do it right this time. So even like throwing it, okay, let's do Doctor Doom. You think they're going to do a comic accurate Doctor Doom, or because Disney is Disney, they're going to find some way to kind of, or they'll find like a black Doctor Doom, because it's like, well, we tried to race swap Kang, so let me just race swap Doctor Doom. So we need to get that representation in there now.
No. Doom will be a Putin stand-in. He will be a former Russian intelligence guy that escaped to Latveria, found out he made himself king, made himself royal lineage. You see, this is the thing, is that Doom, if you follow his original, I believe these are original, I could be wrong. If you follow his original story, Doom was not like hit by cosmic rays. Reed Richards came back and started styling all over the world, being the smartest man on earth. And Doom was like, eat shit. I'm the smartest man on earth. And that's where that got started. So if you just don't acknowledge Reed Richards in that equation. You don't need the Fantastic Four for Doom to be the threat and all the bad that he is in the Marvel Universe already. Technically, his rivalry with Reed Richards is really one-sided when you get into what Doctor Doom is capable of. It's an ego trip for him to have a battle with Reed, not a threat. You know what I mean? So if you don't, so you can introduce him very easily. Like I said, you get a bunch of Lokis out there. Then you're full circle, right? The first Avengers movie was about Loki. The Reset Avengers movie is about Loki. You go full circle, you know? And then you tip off Doom. He's brought out into here. You don't need to bring up the Fantastic Four with him. He's just in a castle, staring menacingly into a crystal ball, right? And then all of a sudden, Tom Hiddleston's fucking face shows up and he goes, you're an asshole. And he goes into the multiverse to beat his ass. That's what, that's easy. It's that simple. But he says it with a Russian accent, so it sounds scarier.
It's easier for us, for people who don't have nothing but utter contempt for the characters that they're writing for, to come up with some kind of plan to save this whole thing. Like I said, the asterisk we have to put on this whole plan is that it's Disney and they don't have a good idea. So the way that they've gone about fixing this is that, okay, well, Kang is out. We don't have a big bad for the next several years. How are we going to fix this? Hey, let's bring back Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson, the ones who died from the previous film and the other one who sued us because of the fiasco of the release of the other film. So this is a rumor that this is their idea. This is what's been pitched around Disney. It's like, hey, let's bring back all of the Avengers that we literally closed the door on like 5 years ago. It hasn't even been a full 5 years yet. Let's bring them all back because this is the only way that we're going to get butts and seats at the movie theaters at this point. So the question here, I'll go ahead and pop this up here just for a second. There we go. So the rumor here that Robert Downey Jr. has already agreed to return. We'll see how far this rumor actually gets, but there's a new rumor coming that Robert Downey Jr. has agreed to return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm pretty sure they agreed to pay him a boatload of money like they've been doing for every single appearance he's made prior to this. But yeah, the new rumor is that from Scooper, My Time to Shine, hello, on X. I hate calling it X, I really do. Saying that our Robert Downey Jr. has already agreed to return. There has been previous rumors that they've been looking to bring back Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, who was killed off in Endgame. And this is something that I mentioned on a previous stream here. I don't even understand why Scarlett Johansson had to be killed off in her character's sake, because it's like, oh, well, she got sacrificed in the Soul Stone. Well, so did Gamora, and she's still around too. So I mean, that really doesn't mean anything at all. Like, I never understood why she's the one character that they couldn't bring back under any circumstances whatsoever. It's like the whole ending of Endgame was just absolutely like dumb to me. So I don't know why that would even be a thing. But note that they haven't committed to the idea, because obviously with Robert Downey Jr., his pay rate is going to be a big deal. Robert Downey Jr. made a significant portion of the box office receipts for pretty much every Iron Man appearance that he had in the film, which I think he averaged like something like 50 million a film every time he played Iron Man, just due to the box office receipts alone, which is ridiculous. And keep in mind, they couldn't even pay Terrence Howard $3 million, or what they agreed to pay him in the first place. They didn't want to do that. But what else is on here? So they're talking about somehow grooving these characters back in to the new stage here, because the new characters that they're pushing right now is not working. They've tried with Cassie Lang and Kate Bishop and all these other new characters, and they haven't hit a chord with anyone. So now they're going back into desperation. It's like, well, let's just bring back the characters that everyone knows and loves, and hopefully that will get people into the seats here. I'm not surprised by this, honestly, on the full notion that with Secret Wars, what I've been hearing rumored for like the last year and a half or so is that they essentially want every actor who's ever been in any Marvel movie ever to be involved in Secret Wars, because they want a big giant multiverse action film for that film. So they're going to bring back everyone who was in the original MCU. They're going to bring back all of the X-Men characters from the Fox series, the Fantastic Four. If you were in Blade, I'm pretty sure Thomas Jane is going to get a call here sometime in the near future when he was the Punisher.
Hold on, is Wesley Snipes going to get a call? I don't know about that.
Hey, it's the multiverse, right? We don't have any rules.
When it comes to Blade, bro, motherfuckers be like, bring back Wesley Snipes, bring back. Have you seen this motherfucker lately? Have you seen Wesley Snipes lately, bro? I think that he's great. He's the GOAT. I will never, I can't unsee Wesley Snipes as Blade. But that motherfucker looks crazy in my day to be playing Blade.
I mean, first of all, he's 61, and I'm not sure if you guys saw him in, what was it, Expendables 3, I think it was. Like, he was looking his age then, and that was like a handful of years ago. So,
Well, I saw him in Coming to America, which is one of the worst films ever made. So there you go.
Wait,
awful.
He was in, or was that the second one that you're talking about?
Yeah, the second one.
the
The
second
I
Amazon
guarantee you didn't
one.
recognize him.
I didn't see it, so I wouldn't have.
He didn't
But,
have a sword and sunglasses. So. Still has the greatest improvised one-liner in all of Hollywood history. Some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate. That was not scripted. That was literally, they had to cut that audio right there because everybody started laughing just as soon as he finished it. The best improv line ever.
You know, he was it at that time. Like he was the fucking guy. And he's my hero because anybody that avoids paying taxes is a fucking G, okay?
Hey, here's another thing, just real quick before I let Orange go. It's like Kate brought this up as well. Like we're talking about, have you seen Wesley Snipes lately? Have you seen Robert Downey Jr. lately? Like he's in no physical shape to be Iron Man again. Like if you guys saw him in Oppenheimer a few months back when that film came out, even beforehand, like he looks like a rithered up 60-year-old man at this point. Like he looks like he would probably have to put on like 70 pounds of muscle just to even look like he can be Iron Man
It's all
in a realistic fashion now.
They can just fix it with CGI and just add the muscles like they did for Natalie Portman.
Well, the thing is, Robert Downey Jr. actually did a poll on Instagram. Do you want to see me in Sherlock 3 or do you want to see me in Iron Man 4? And it's like, dude, I'd go Sherlock 3, man. I mean, your character was great and you were great as Stark. Don't get me wrong. You are Tony Stark for an entire generation. But I would really like to see a Guy Ritchie or a third Guy Ritchie Sherlock.
No, not me. Not me.
Well, you have no taste, so.
Yeah, no. As someone who actually genuflected at 221B Baker Street, I have no interest in seeing a terrible version of. Oh, well, he and Jude Law were fine. The movies I thought were terrible. But let's look at bringing back the dead. First, his price is going to go up, and Rob wonders why. Because, well, actually, Rob, I'm sorry. Ryan Gosling has put in the bag, okay? Get used to it. Ryan Gosling's going to win for Barbie, one of the great turning points in cinematic history. Stop it, Roberto. So there's that. So he's going to be at least a nominee. He's probably going to lose. Then, all the emotion, thank you, Jeremy Brett, the standard for Sherlock Holmes. But he's already dead. The character is dead. All the people that were crying about him dying, bringing him back, why? How? Multiverse thing? Only
people just always love to cheapen an important, a pivotal moment. Just as long as enough time has passed, they're willing to cheapen it because these people are so fickle, man.
And I don't even think it's going to appeal to as many people as they think it's going to appeal. I don't think people are going to say, "Oh, Robert Downey Jr. is back. Oh, wonderful. The MCU is saved." No, I think they're going to say, "Oh, they managed to pay off someone to come back, even though he's dead. Let the dead stay dead." If they
but it's
had
the multiverse.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't have a multiverse at this point because people now see it as like. I don't want to say cheating, but I guess as someone who is so used to seeing dead people come back, having watched the revived Doctor Who, it lessens the impact. It lessens the impact of what you had. That's why when all these people were crying at what was it Infinity War, it's like why? They know they're all coming back. Here with Endgame, that was it. He was dead. It was a very moving moment. I Love You 3000 was a big thing for a couple of days. But bringing him back, I don't see the point of bringing him back. It's cheap stunt. people are going to recognize it as a cheap stunt. Only really a small number of very fanatical, crazed, who probably watch every MCU TV show are going to care. I don't think people are going to care enough to say, "Oh, we're going to watch this new MCU movie because Robert Downey Jr. is back." Academy Award loser, Robert Downey Jr., because he's going to lose in a landslide. Yeah, Peter's with me on this. But
Well, I
yeah.
mean, I think I know a reason why you were bringing him back at this point, but I'll save that one for a little bit here. Cassie, is bringing back Robert Downey Jr. in his current frail vegan state enough to get you in a butt in the seat for MCU film?
No.
Never
Yo,
was.
I was super invested in the MCU at the very beginning for a very long time. I fell off at Homecoming. I was just like, this looks like a complete joke of a Spider-Man. And I didn't see Avengers, Infinity War, or Endgame in the theaters. Matter of fact, I watched them like back to back in my home on like Netflix or some shit when they both had already come out and it's been like months. I don't give a shit. Like honestly, I understand that Robert Downey Jr. without Marvel is pretty much he does not put any asses in seats. I understand that. And I think he needs to come to terms with that shit too at this point, bro. It's over, bro. You old. It sucks. He was my guy for a long ass time. I definitely had a crush on Robert Downey Jr. when he started Iron Man. But it's over, bro. Get the fuck over it.
It's over. I'll have to play this just for a second only because you brought it.
It's over. Go home.
It's pretty much
I
where
mean,
we're at right now.
the thing is, what was I gonna say? Screw it, I forgot. Never mind.
riveting point there from Orange Hat. Yeah, look, this whole thing is cooked. I think they know that, but they just, like I said, they don't want to admit that they've absolutely muffed this entire franchise. And like, nobody at Disney is going to admit their failures. They don't want to admit it with Lucasfilm. They don't want to admit it with Marvel. They don't want to admit it with all of these live action reboots that the fans have rejected. Like they're in the process of they're just in complete denial, and they want to triple down on their failures right now because they haven't even admitted that they've made a mistake in the first place. And it's pride, it's stupidity, and it's just simply hiring people who have no idea what the hell they're doing in the first place. And that's really where we're at. You're talking about Rick was saying, why would they bring him back? Like, what would be the point of that? This is the only reason why they would bring him back.
I mean, they also, to Cassie's point with Homecoming, they screwed up the timeline and they still haven't freaking corrected it on the digital platform yet. They keep on saying it's 8 years, or Homecoming takes place 8 years after the first Avengers movie, and it's like, that would make it after Thanos snapped. So you guys might want to rethink your timeline a little bit.
Yeah, well, the reason to bring him back, I guess, would be to cook up the interest. Again, bringing Doctor Who into this, they brought back the most popular actor to play the Doctor in the Revive series. That's David Tennant. They brought him back again, and yeah, I'm sure there's interest, but no one's really going to care because he's not going to stay permanent. You can't keep relying on Robert Downey Jr. to bail you out, especially because he's not going to play Iron Man forever. At a certain point, the people who really are clamoring for this, they need to let go. They need to accept that, and
people
things
get
change.
old.
People get old, and people lose Oscars. So it's time to just accept the reality, and they need to build up their own new section of characters that people will gravitate to, like Ant-Man and like I guess Tony Stark Jr. They've got Tony Stark Jr. They don't really need to bring Tony Stark. I mean, they've got Peter Parker. You can keep on asking about those really old movies.
Well, that's the problem. They are already grooming Tom Hiddleston or Holland for James Bond, apparently.
So
yeah, he's a runner-up for He's a runner-up for James Bond. They actually reported that.
It'll be the first time we see James Bond carded when he asks for a martini.
Yeah, right.
I don't need my James Bond getting his back blown out by big black dudes. I don't think I need that.
Oh, you had to remind me of that one, huh?
God damn.
Anyway,
You go Dwight Howard. Is that what you're saying?
I brought up that picture of AI Doom there because I have a theory, and it's just me. But what if they do what they did with James Earl Jones, and they have Robert Downey Jr. say a bunch of gobbledygook into an AI machine that can transform it into anything they want whenever they want, right? And then they make him Doctor Doom. So you have RDJ fighting RDJ, right? You got Iron Man fighting Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom wins, right? Or whatever. He ends up surviving the day. But from now on, they have RDJ coming out of that radiator face. You know? Then he doesn't have to be on screen. He just gets a nice check in the mail. Nice old man eating his bug bread on the beaches of Maui, you know? That's my theory. Is that they're going to bring him back and they're going to AI him into Doom's face, and then they got a guy they don't need to take a mask off of anymore. That's the problem with Iron Man is the mask opens, right? So just put him in the face that doesn't open. You're done.
I don't know. I mean, it'll have to be the nice part of Maui, the one that wasn't burned down
or covered in poop.
Yeah, burned down, because we're still buying into that story, but we'll say that for another day. We talked about it here, so might as well bring it up here again. Blade is a complete and utter disaster, and this was a project that people actually were looking forward to, especially when they announced the actor who was going to be involved in it. And it was like, oh yeah, okay, we're going to get a brand new Blade with a brand new actor, and I always butcher this guy's name, Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah,
Marshall Ali. Yep,
exactly. That's what I'm gonna call him. Martial law. That's essentially what I'm gonna call him here for
there you go.
the remainder of this video.
Martial law. You got it.
Amazing.
So everyone was hyped for this when they announced that he was going to be playing Blade, and then you didn't hear anything for a while, and then stuff that you started to hear you didn't like, and this whole thing has been marred in disaster from the very beginning. I think we reported this like several months ago that what they wanted to do with this character, which they've done with so many other characters, is like, hey, let's give the mantle of Blade to a woman, because we need to be all about female empowerment now in the modern Disney age. So there was talks behind the scenes that they wanted to make the focus of Blade, the title character here, and give that to Blade's daughter, who was going to take the mantle of Blade in the future. And this ended up causing a lot of trouble. Here we have a article from John here saying that, you know, Trouble Blade script reportedly morphed into a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons, which basically means they were going to use this film to lecture the crap out of you, which is what everyone wants out of a Blade movie, right? That's what made the first two Blade movies so great, was lectures about, like, you know, Black Lives Matter and the patriarchy and all that other stuff. Yeah, I said that this one turned in,
cut that woman's head off.
Yeah, exactly right. And it got so bad that Ali himself reported, this has been reported multiple times, like he wanted to leave this project entirely due to issues of the script. And I understand why. I mean, he knows that, look, everyone loves the Blade movies. He was going to have a lot to live up to based on those Wesley Snipes performances. But if they were going to essentially replace him with a chick and destroy the character, he knew that he was going to end up taking a lot of that heat, and then he didn't want anything to do with it here. But one person familiar with the script said that the story at one point morphed into a narrative led by women filled with life lessons, saying that Blade was regulated to a fourth lead. So he's a fourth lead in his own movie. He's the titled character, and we've made him basically irrelevant in his own film, which is right on par with Disney storytelling. The bizarre idea considered the studio that had a two-time Oscar winner on board later said that Ali was ready to exit the film entirely over script issues. I believe that it was maybe Spencer knows this one. I believe it was either the writer or the director of this film actually left the project entirely. That's how bad bad the creative process director left the cast the film entirely over just how bad they were bungling this whole thing before this whole thing has been shot. We haven't seen any trailers from it. Production has just been an absolute mess. It's like they wanted to go in this woke direction with Blade, and the people who knew all about Blade, the people who wanted to respect Blade, knew that this was not the direction to go. But like I said, good luck trying to get Disney to change their mind on anything. Kevin Feige says, I want you to leave today with one more thing that I don't think it's been rumored. Ladies and gentlemen, two-time Academy Award winner Marshall Ali. This is from the Comic-Con panel for a few years back, and we all know what happened here. They were hooting and hollering like a bunch of gorillas here, and I mean that literally, but so the hype was there, but everything that people are hearing about this script here doesn't make anyone feel any better. Then of course we had this story come out just a couple of days after the fact. Said that apparently a Marvel executive behind Blade was reportedly fired because he didn't sound the alarm on just how bad this film had gotten. Apparently the executives had to realize just how completely off the wall this film was, which I have to ask the question here. If this is true, if somehow the executives didn't know just how bad this thing was going to get, you have to ask the question, who hired the people in charge of this? Like who hired these writers in the first place? Because that person not going to get any kind of blame. It's like you hire someone who is essentially going to kill one of the few cash cows that we have left in this Marvel Cinematic Universe and destroy it for decades to come. Like who's in Disney is actually going to get reprimanded for bringing these people in the first place? That's a question that I want to know. But this one says a new report says that Marvel executive responsible for the Blade reboot has been sacked for intentionally lying to studio boss Kevin Feige about just how disastrous the film was shaking up to be. Which has caused this film to go through several delays. I don't even know if it has an official release date now because of all delays behind the scenes. But like I said, the next cinematic outing would be being butt quality. There's been multiple scoopers talking about this, how this whole thing sounds like an absolute disaster. Kevin Feige pulled the plug on the scripts and the projects that weren't working. Apparently, this film might end up getting a full reboot, and like I said, it hasn't even been fully produced yet. It's like a promising role 4 years ago. It's not turning out not to be the prac. We've gone through 5 writers, 2 directors, and 1 shutdown 6 weeks before production because of you hired a bunch of people who have absolutely no idea what they're doing, and the ones who do know what they're doing, you won't listen to them. That's pretty much what this article here is saying. So Blade up and down, it's just an absolute disaster. Here's a picture of the daughter who was supposed to be, I guess they were going to give the mantle to Blade to her and make the focus of the film on her rather than the Blade character that people actually care to see. So yeah, this whole thing is just an absolute mess. It's just a disaster here, and it's turned one of the few things people were actually looking forward to, and it's turned into a complete shit show. And they're trying to save face now by saying, hey, but that film is going to be rated R. It's like, oh great, shit, the movie is going to be rated R. I can't wait to see it. Rick, I'll start with you here. What do you think about the MCU fumbling and destroying Blade well into production? This thing hasn't even gotten into post-production, not even gotten close, and they've already ruined everything.
Well, first, they let all of these people run the shop unsupervised, because we've seen this already. Several pushes to make women the center. Several times that it's going to be the daughter or like he's going to mentor. They're going to replace the men and women, and it just didn't. It didn't work. It didn't work because fans of the original Blade loved the character, loved Snipes' version of it, and they were looking forward to having their new Blade with Mahershala Ali, who is respected and liked. And now they're getting this mess because, again, it's not about the movie. It's about whatever they want to put in to tell us, like, oh, you need more female empowerment, because obviously you don't have enough female characters being over. What was that big scene at was it Endgame where all the women come and they ones who lead?
The A-Force scene, because the all-female Avengers that they've been secretly planning for years, but keep denying that that's what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. But there's no one in charge. That's the gist of it. When you've got all of these writers not being able to handle a property that they've known and that has existed, long before the official kickoff for the MCU. And they don't have the writers, they don't have the director, they don't have the star. I don't blame Mahershala Ali for wanting to leave, because again, it's not just about the character, it's his career, and they're relegating him to a minor character in his own movie. This for him was going to be the next step. Yeah, he's got 2 Oscars and he's well respected, but this was going to put him on another level. And now he's seeing that disappear. For what purpose? So that other people who we don't really know are going to be elevated above him and above his character, and he's going to be kind of pushed off to the side. Yeah, I'd be mad. I'd leave as well. And it's a shame. It's just a terrible shame, but it's now par for the course that they're going to take a property, decide they're going to make it for what was it expression, for more audiences, and they're not going to appeal to the old Blade fans. They're not necessarily going to convert any new fans or bring in any new fans, because again, I asked this question repeatedly: who is the target audience? Who is the target audience for Blade? Why are not making a film for them versus making a film for people who don't really care about the character? That's what I would say.
That's where we're at.
Mhm.
Slider, what's your take on the Blade disaster and how they fumbled this so badly?
I still don't know why they chose Martial Law to be in that. I don't.
It's not even black.
Well, he is. I just don't understand. Like, I only know him from the 4400. I haven't seen anything else he's ever been in. Not that he's just not been
Not
in
Green
anything I've
Book?
watched. Huh?
Not Green Book?
No. Like
Moonlight?
No,
Yeah.
nobody but people like us have watched Green Book. Like, Rick, let's be very honest here.
I don't associate him with action. I don't associate him with being cool. I associate him with being a murderous soldier from the future.
Well, it's funny. Just real quick, he was in, if you remember, the Netflix Luke Cage, where he played villain in the first season of Luke Cage, and his presentation in that first season was actually really good, but they fumbled his character even in that series too, because they shifted the focus away from him being the villain to, I think it was like the black female mayor or whoever was running for office being the villain instead. So he ends up getting like axed off halfway during the thing, even though he was set up in the first half to be like kind of the big bad of the series.
Is this dude married to a white woman? I feel like it's on purpose, like that they doing this shit to this poor man, bro. That is wild.
So
when you look at Mahershala, what is it, Mahershala Ali?
Mahershala Ali.
I mean, my question, generally speaking, is who is a martial arts oriented black man that isn't over the age of 40? And he's even in his 40s. That's the weird thing to me, because it's like Michael Jai White is like what, 50? Obviously,
yeah, but at least he could still do his shit.
I agree, but it's like it's one of those things where if you want to like cast someone that's very, that's action oriented, and you're looking for someone that could potentially be around, for the next 10 plus years, they're thinking in their fucking mind, amazingly enough. I mean, like, who do you go to that really is gonna have that longevity and ability to do Blade?
You can certainly find a young actor and train him to do the martial arts and cast an unknown. If you wanted to have someone young that you could guarantee or at least try to get more sequels out of, I probably went with Ali because he's he's known and people do respect him. So that's my theory. It's the same way that they cast, was it Daniel Craig as James Bond, and he was already like in his 40s. So
I didn't like that either. So
oh yeah, I didn't like him either.
Either way, the guy who played M'Baku would have made a better Blade, in my opinion. The Daniel Kaluuya, he was also in Black Panther. He has a very long, extensive list of stunt acting. Like Black Mirror has him doing crazy shit all the time.
Yeah.
So he's definitely a guy that could pick up swordplay probably pretty quick, And you saw like Anakin Skywalker there, Hayden Christensen just whirling around that 3D dildo stick there. You obviously can pick it up and it sticks with you for a while. He didn't need a refresher course to make Rosario Dawson look like a 2-year-old at a pinata, And
No, I was just going to go a quick little answer to Neozoic here because he asked which was more disastrous, MCU Blade or Ziggler Snow White. At least people were actually looking forward at some point to Blade.
Right,
No one has ever been looking forward to Snow White at any course of this whole thing. So, yeah.
So those would be the two that I would, because if they're not going to bother trying to find somebody outside of their own pool that they've got already, right? Like they pulled this guy out of Luke Cage's thing. So, it could be the reason why they killed him halfway through the first season because they promised him Blade, so he had to go, Either way, you had those two guys that are just already on the roster that are not going to be doing anything anymore in this series. So why not make them Blade? Those two guys could have done it too. I think the M'Baku guy just got the worst fucking run of it. Like that guy got the worst stick of this whole thing. Like Shuri being made the Black Panther when this guy his character literally fought for it in the first movie. It's so stupid.
Yeah, but
give it to a 100-pound African girl.
Right, who ends up getting handed, like a bit half-handed over, tossed into the ocean by a dude with wings on his ankles.
I'll answer the question as to why they didn't pick either of them, because they've already played other characters in the MCU. If you put them in the Blade movie, the hardcore audience is going to say that's not possible. How is he the same character?
No.
Make it
Martial
make sense.
Law was the main bad guy in the first season of Luke Cage.
It is different though. That doesn't cross over. Technically, doesn't cross over. They see it differently.
But Charlie,
he canonized it.
I understand. Look, I think it's all fucking retarded, bro. I'm just trying to think from their perspective on that one.
No, the people who have actually watched all of the shows and the movies, if you get an actor to play two different parts in the same universe, not being multiverse, they're going to demand wild explanations rather than just say he's an actor, he plays different parts. You need just to accept it. They won't. They'll want convoluted answers. Again, just like
that's why they're bringing Robert Downey Jr. back. They're going to put him in blackface like they did in Tropic Thunder. He's going to be the new Blade.
Oh gosh.
It just hit.
New Blade. No.
How high are you right now, Cider?
New Blade.
Oh, he's approaching atmosphere.
Okay. Where that makes any kind of sense.
But
he did it once.
I mean,
and he lost Best Supporting Actor, like he will for Barbie. He'll lose to the Barbie.
Volume Dealer does bring up a good point. Then I'll let Orange Hat go here. It's like, what happened to the guy who played Luke Cage? I mean, he's still around, and I think there was like a point there where he was like, yeah, if they want me to come back, I'll come back. But for whatever reason, they didn't want, like I said, there was some kind of jealousy or spite going on with like the creators of the Netflix series. Because I mean, they could have brought all of those people like back into like the MCU. They could have brought back Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Daredevil, like all of those people could have continued that whole series, but I guess they didn't want to associate anything with the Netflix brand, so they decided that they weren't going to bring him back. Exactly, except for Charlie, right? But then if you're going to bring back Charlie, then why not bring back Luke Cage? I mean, what was even the thought process there? Yeah, Michael Collier, who, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
the thing is with Blade, Mahershala Ali, he's got two things going for him. He looks good in sunglasses, and he has a voice that's deep, that is reminiscent to Wesley Snipes' Blade, who gives off that really anti-hero-ish kind of voice. That's the only two things, because I've honestly never seen him pick up a sword. I've never seen him do any action. I agree with Cider and them there, who was talking that he doesn't really fit the role because we'd never seen that type of acting out of him. But that's basically the only thing that I could fathom as to why they would cast him. Other than that, honestly, I can't really think of another actor that would do a good job. But they really could bring in different, or they've done recycling with actors in the MCU. I do believe one or two of them. Scott Adkins himself actually regrets being in Doctor Strange 1, but because he actually wishes he could have become a better character. But with this Mahershala Ali thing, and plus with the whole Blade situation, I wouldn't blame him one bit for saying, you know what, fuck this, I'm out. Find somebody else. You wanted to relegate me as a fourth main or as fourth lead or whatever
in
they
his
call
own
it.
movie.
And not only that, yeah, he would be taking the brunt of all of the hate. But here's the thing, Marvel. Technically, if you did that, you're guilty of false advertising. Because he is the titular character, and yet he's not even the lead, or he's not even top 2 lead. You would actually relegate him to a support character in his own fucking movie. There was a freaking lawsuit over in UK where there was a movie that Ana de Armas was supposed to be in, and they cut her role out of it, and those people actually won that lawsuit. So that actually can set a precedent where you could sue a freaking studio for false advertising to a degree where it is deceptive marketing. If they were to do that, oh my God, Marvel would lose millions, possibly if not billions of dollars on that alone if they did that to Mahershala Ali, making him a fourth lead or whatever they call it. But technically, it's like, well, we did make him a lead. You made him a fourth lead. You have 3 other characters that are in front of him when he is the titular character. That is false advertising.
Well, you could argue that if they put in Blade's daughter and she takes on the mantle of Blade, they're not technically lying because the main character in this case, the daughter, is called Blade. Therefore, you're seeing a Blade movie.
But it is deceptive in the sense that you call it the film Blade because everyone was expecting the actual male Blade character. If you wanted to just do female Blade, you could have just told everyone 4 years ago, hey, here's a new Blade and it's a black woman. And then you know what would have happened?
Exactly.
No one would have watched that movie. No one would have even given that film a chance. And you knew that, which is why you have to do the old bait and switch and sucker them in with a good movie and then switch it at the last minute and be like, here's what we really wanted to do.
But Jacob, the future is female. We need more empowered females, especially black female empowered leaders, so that little black girls can look up to them. That's why we need people like Kamala Harris and Cori Bush in government. So little black girls can grow up to be like
you know what little black girls need to look up to? Their fathers. Where are they at? Can we
Harris is not a black woman.
No, she is not.
Well, no, she says she isn't. So I
don't give a fuck if she says she is or not.
All right.
But point being,
that woman is about as black as fucking Adam Driver.
But
or Adam Sandler.
Point being that you are not really switching if you try to find that route. I'm trying to find a rationale that they could get away with, but it's still bad.
It still wouldn't work.
Yeah, it's still
because
bad.
they marketed Mahershala Ali.
Yeah,
they announced him as Blade. It wouldn't matter.
Or they could do what they've done with the Marvelettes, which is it started out as Captain Marvel 2, and then she got relegated to like a co-star in her own film.
That was in pre-production before they even announced it, because they didn't announce Captain Marvel 2 as Captain Marvel 2. Everybody assumed at that point that it was Captain Marvel 2. They announced it as the Marvels because they changed it before they got to the announcement.
But isn't it called Captain Marvel 2 in China?
Now that it is, because they realized how bad of a freaking job they did. But yeah,
turns out we really muffed this whole thing
Marvel
up.
3, technically, because there's 3 of them now.
But the thing is, that's why the MCU
Captain
is
Q.
screwed. They completely made, or they basically said, okay, we're done with the Infinity Saga. Let's just start throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. The only problem is they have it as a freaking steady stream of water going down that wall. So nothing's going to stick.
Yeah, well, I mean that's true. You looked at almost everything that's come post Endgame. I mean, who really has been excited about Quantum Mania or or whatever
I
else?
watched that out of pure
Yeah.
freaking boredom and curiosity. That was the only freaking way that I watched that movie, and it sucked.
Except for Guardians 3, I don't think anything that the MCU has produced of late has been particularly popular. And I would say that Guardians 3 is more popular, I would say, thanks in large part to Chris Pratt, who still has a lot of goodwill from the viewing audience. Other than that, there's not been interest in any of these because, again, for people like myself, Endgame literally was the end. I mean, it ended the world's longest and most expensive soap opera. Everything else has just been uninteresting to me. And then with the TV shows and trying to keep up with everything, who's going to be interested? But for Mahershala Ali, again, he's right to be angry if they're going to relegate him to a small part in his film. And again, you're going to diminish a two-time Oscar winner for relatively unknown performers. You're going to build them up and take his spotlight. I'd be mad, and I'm surprised that he hasn't officially walked away. He should. He should if they keep screwing with him. It's his career. He has an interest in maintaining his career and have large parts. Maybe he thought that this film was going to be that film that was going to make him into a bigger star or an action star that we haven't seen before, like Cider and Orange have said. Maybe he said, yes, this is going to be the part that's going to take me from respected actor into bona fide action star, and I can get bigger parts and flashier films. But now, because we needed to build up females, you're going to relegate him into a smaller role. And that's something that I think would anger anyone. The fact that they don't have an established script is also an issue. And they keep changing it. What are the life lessons that they're going to learn? I'm just curious. Is it full of life lessons? I want to go see a Blade movie for the life lessons. Is that going to be the motivating factor that you get life lessons?
Nope, not at all. Not from this series.
Rooftop Korean says they've been doing the bait and switch since forever. It's like, no, that's only been, or the stuff that you're talking about has only been in the last 3 years. They have, or that stuff, or they didn't start doing the bait and switch.
The bait and switch, like more recent ones, been like the last like 5 or 10 years where they really started to go all in on that.
Well, I haven't. What bait and switches have they been doing in the last 10 years?
Are you talking about Disney specifically?
Yes.
Yeah, Disney. I think as far as like the MCU goes, I mean, well, there's some future ones, obviously with Fantastic Four, but we'll have to talk about that.
That's
later.
all that. Yeah, but those are in the future. But the ones that he's mentioning, Loki, Hawkeye, Mando, Obi-Wan, Fett, and Ahsoka, that's all been in the last 3 years. They didn't, or that's when they started doing the bait and switch, and that is when they also started going downhill wickedly.
Yeah.
Because before then, they actually had a merit, or they had merit to go off of. Now it's, well, yes, Rey in the Force Awakens. She wasn't really, or you could possibly argue that as a fake out or a bait and switch, but not really.
I wouldn't use that one because, like I said, I think they were trying to go as well. Let's put it this way. J.J. Abrams wanted to go a certain way with The Force Awakens. Rian Johnson came in with the very next film and pretty much destroyed anything that he had set up. So it might look like that from that perspective. That was more of Rian Johnson just throwing everything that J.J. Abrams had set up out the window and going in a completely different direction. But then again, maybe that's why you don't have 3 separate directors for 3 films. They all have 3 different visions of what they want to do. So.
She wasn't a fake out. She was a victim of stupidity.
So they could still do their female bullshit thing they want to do, right? They could still do it, but you can make
They
it
could,
a
sure,
little
but
easier. Well, they can
it-
make it a little easier so you're not like shoving the guy off to the side, right? So give Blade a wife. Doesn't have to be
Who
a
even was his-
jaywalking black vampire person. She could just be his like support. Like give
Who
her a
was the-
sword that has like a UV laser on the tip edge of it, like this thing does. So she doesn't have like super strength or whatever, you know. So she's not overpowering the guys, but she can slice through the vampires using the UV light at the edge of the blade, you know. So it looks
who
neat.
was
No,
who was the baby mama?
Oh,
What
for
now?
Blade's daughter?
Yeah.
I don't know. But Cider, I don't know how you could have a woman be the support. You know that strong women do not support. Strong women take over.
They hijack.
Well, you know, like I said, they
So
could.
she can't
save
be the
it.
support. The wife cannot be the support. The husband has to be subservient.
I'm just
Except that-
thinking where they could accomplish both
She
things.
will
they
be
need to
Michelle
do,
Obama.
but
I mean,
not
the thing
like
is, they
insult
actually
Blade
succeeded
fans.
with female support throughout the entirety of the Infinity Saga. I mean, if you think
Weird,
about it,
right?
since the first movie, who was the one who killed Obadiah Stane? It wasn't Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
It was actually
Cider.
Pepper
You're right.
Potts.
Pepper
He's the
Potts,
one
yeah.
that pushed the button to fry freaking Obadiah. Who was the one that helped freaking Hulk get a little bit of control or exercise a lot more control over himself? Freaking Betty. I mean, I've done videos on this where the female characters going through the Infinity Saga has actually are actually more responsible for saving the day than the heroes themselves.
Yes, that's why
And
they
people
should
don't want to acknowledge that.
No, that's why they should change the name of the group to X-Women. I know
They
it's not the
can't ban
same
him from
thing,
the show. They'll
but I
have to keep
remember
bringing him back.
how
Somebody
that
should
was a
get
big line.
Kang to send him back in time to your crib.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just what I'm thinking is that, you know, give him a wife, let him have all the crazy. You can have a Diana Ross OST in the background while they're slicing up vampires in the middle of the night. Come on, you could think, Cassie, you know exactly the song that would go in the background she's like rolling over his back, slicing one of those big beefy guys in half. He's like slicing the one up the front. The music is flaring, the camera's spinning.
Coming out.
That's the perfect song. I'm coming out.
It has to be like it's obviously going to be the theme song when some lesbian character that's been gender swapped.
They should put that in Echo.
Well, it's not
Pretty
going
much.
to. Well, now they're going to start playing "Touch Me in the Morning" at that point.
Well, again,
Ugh.
like you can even do Barry White, whatever. But like you get like that cheesy little bit of romance here and there, but they're bonding through killing vampires. So you have like everything you need to get like the black audience interested in the baseline effect of it, and then you get the white audience interested with all the vampire hunting.
Hey, and what about the Mexican audience? Why are you sour?
Well, I don't know if Blade appeals to breakfast taco Americans.
Just sell breakfast tacos at the theater.
I don't know if
See?
burrito Americans would like
that would be only
red taco shells for Blade, right? They get the Dorito taco shells for Blade right there.
Only Dr. Biden talks about breakfast tacos.
I was about to say,
Taco
if it's Mexican, though, it has to be like flaming hot tacos. That's the only way they're going to eat it.
See, so they're red, right? Right? So the hot, flaming hot Cheeto taco things. Yeah, it'd be great. You could have martial law out there with black wife lady, and they're like eating the tacos together, and they're like, come on down, it's delicious.
You know what's
My camera
hilarious?
froze
Rick finds
perfectly.
that the most funny, but he doesn't even know who martial law is.
Mahershala? Are you talking about
martial
Mahershala?
law.
Martial law?
I don't know
He's
how
a
to
video
say his
game
name.
character.
Wasn't
So I
that a-
just call him Martial Law because I don't know how to say his name.
Martial Law is a Tekken character.
I thought
Exactly.
Martial Law was a TV show with well, not Xiao Yun Fat. Was it Sammy Hong?
No. No one's old enough to remember what those shows actually are.
Is that on
Marshall-
before or after Columbo in the afternoon?
Yeah, right. Did
I
it
believe
come
Marshall-
on during the heat of the night or after?
Oh man! Oh man! I remember watching the heat of the night before the school bus would come in the morning. Oh man!
Wasn't Martial Law based on frickin' Jackie Chan or something?
Bruce Lee.
Yes, the
That's,
life and styles of Jackie Chan were all about martial law. Yep.
The Jackie Chan characters Lei Wulong in Tekken.
Oh yeah, Wulong in Tekken. But the other one was very much based on Bruce Lee. Yeah, Law.
Martial law, forest law, both of them.
Yeah.
This
Force
is how
Law, yeah.
interesting the future of the MCU is. We're talking about
See?
Tekken now.
Tekken 8 right around the corner.
But I don't know, man. They could have done. They could have done a Blade meeting and marrying his wife in this, and it would have been a great story. Could have been all about him and her and them like bonding and shit. It would have been great. But whatever.
Insider, you could have just.
What's the
ended with,
next
It could have been a
topic?
great story.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because now we can move on about the greatest television show of all time, which is coming out here in just a couple of months here. Echo Mania is running wild, brother. So Echo is even more of a disaster if you can believe that one. But at least that one's actually coming out eventually. So we've been hyping this thing up for like months now. I think we're literally the only people on the internet who are actually excited about this show at this point.
No. There is one. There is one other person, someone that I've grown quite fond of, who is also
boy.
excited. I think you know whom.
Oh no! Here we go.
Yeah, that kid. Yeah, that kid.
Yeah.
He's very excited. He's excited about everything, but he's excited about Echo.
Dude, they could put like a fucking like a green turd in a box and just put a Marvel logo on it. He'd be excited. Okay, anyway, next topic here. Echo is a disaster. So for those of you guys who don't understand what Echo is, a couple years ago when Marvel did Hawkeye, they introduced this character of Echo, and it was a deaf, one-legged Native American woman who's possibly lesbian too. So she checks all the check boxes, right? And in order to properly portray this character, it was like, hey, you know what? Let's get a real Native American one-legged deaf character to play this title character of Echo here, which means that they ended up pulling someone literally from the streets who cannot act and decided, let's give her our own 8-episode Disney Plus series. Well, they started shooting it, they started putting it together, and they realized, oh yeah, this is terrible. We can't actually show this to people and expect them to come back. They might cancel Disney Plus if we release this as it is. So it went from 8 episodes to 6 episodes. Now it's down to 5 episodes. And instead of them releasing it 1 week after another, like they do with all their Disney Plus shows, they're just going to release it all in one shot. So this thing is officially going to come out on January the 10th. That's all going to be released. The trailer was finally released, but no one is talking about what is this show actually about? Who is Echo? Why should anyone care? The one thing that they want everyone to talk about this show is representation. Yes, because she's one-legged, she's Native American, she's deaf, she's possibly gay. She checks all the check boxes, and that's all that really matters about this show. The EP of this show, executive producer Sidney Freeland, has made it abundantly clear how Marvel Studios plans to market this series that has been marred with production issues and all kinds of up and down things behind the scenes. It's like the only thing that matters to them is representation. That's it, and that's all. So let's go here for a second. Freeman made those comments at a press event of the series where they rolled out the first trailer. I don't think we need to play the trailer. I think we saw it on Friday. It's not that great. She says the claim that representation was the paramount of the show because according to Variety's Laura Clark, the character was reimagined. He says that Freeland said that she and the creative team, the head writer Marion Devar, I believe her name is, have reimagined the character's indigeneity, which we tried to figure out a couple of we tried to figure out a couple of days ago whether this was a word or not. I'm not sure if we ever got to the bottom
What word?
of that.
Highlight it.
Indigeneity.
Indigeneity. This one.
Indigeneity.
Indigeneity, right. It says making her a member of the Choctaw tribe from Oklahoma. Huh?
Choctaw.
Choctaw, yeah, I was going to say Chalk. From Oklahoma, It says in the in the comics, Maya is from the Blackfeet tribe, but Freeled said that the accompanying visuals amounted to a hodgepodge of imagery that made for a muddied and ultimately inauthentic backstory for her character. So they ended up changing their character to play more, I guess, in truth with her Native American roots, and that's going to be kind of the central focus of this series here. Is that she's Native American. We've never had a Native American in television before, I guess, even though she's on a show that has a bunch of Native American people. Her power in the comic books was that she can copy anything, any movement, and any whatever. It's kind of lame. This is the person who's writing the show about this title character saying that, yeah, our title character's powers suck. I will say that that is not her power. I'll just kind of leave it at that. She added, so she's basically saying that they're going to give her a completely different power set in this show, which is really stupid considering the fact that, look, let's be honest here, even the people who watch this podcast, nobody knows who Echo is and what her powers actually are. So for you to come out right out of the gate in an introductory series to this character and say, yeah, no, we don't want to be I guess true to the comics because her common powers stink, was like, well, nobody knows like who she is anyway, so how do you know if her powers stink or not? But this whole thing is going to be about, you know, her family in Oklahoma. It says that Maya is in a very vulnerable emotional place after this. It says she's got all this bottled up emotion and rage feeling inside of her. She doesn't know what to do with it, and there's going to be somebody there to give her a little nudge. That's a nod to Kingpin, who's also in this series as well. This show is an exploration of trauma, how we deal with it, how we cope with it, how it affects us, and how it affects those around us. So this is how they're selling the television show that has 5 episodes coming out in January here. This is how they're propping up this whole thing. So she just goes on to say that, look, this show is just going to be about a Native American woman and her family in Oklahoma, and then hopefully you guys will watch it, and hopefully you guys will think that is great. By the way, we also threw in a few other characters like Kingpin and Daredevil to give you Marvel marks to go watch this and support this. So yeah, Cider, I'll start with you. Echo, aren't you excited based on what she said here?
Yeah.
Don't you love Native American cinema?
I am. I'm so excited. I am just tingly all over. You know, just tingly all over for this Echo business. Because, you know, as a as just an observer of the culture, when we do you remember that deep voiced Asian guy, Korean guy, popping up on Twitter the other day complaining that he's only allowed to play Asian characters now?
Oh yeah, I know you're talking
Yeah.
about now.
So here we are. Now, I really hope that they find a 12-foot tall, muscular green guy to play the Hulk, because otherwise it's going to be super racist if they keep using Mark Ruffalo and CGIing him, right? They need to find representation for 12-foot tall, muscular green people. Now, and we need to add 2, right? If we're going to keep going down this route, we're going to have to find real Skrulls. Because I really think they are so underrepresented in the Secret Wars movies. Imagine how underrepresented they are in real life. And so if we're just going to keep doing this, you know, we've got to make sure that we get it accurate. We don't want anybody feeling left out. Okay.
Or as Rob would probably say if he was here right now, maybe they're underrepresented for a reason because no one cares.
Well, you know, that there could be that, but you know, just the fact that this is their goal. Right? Their goal is ridiculous. I was before you read that paragraph, the explanation for kicking the white guy out of playing Cleveland on the Family Guy had been the most ridiculous representation screed I'd ever heard. But now this takes the cake. That takes the cake. That's ChatGPT stupid.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking to myself, they keep hiring these people because I believe like I said, the woman in charge, the executive producer, is on a show on FX. I believe it's FX called Reservoir Dogs, which is basically like another. Acid. Well, probably maybe that too. Who knows at this point? But no, it's on a show about a bunch of like Indians on a reservation, and it's kind of this weird mix between comedy and drama. So they put her on here because it's like, well, she's used to working with the Indians, so let's put her on a show about a girl who looks Mexican, but we're telling everyone she's Native American. So that's their entire thought process of giving her this entire show and putting these people in charge. It's like, well, you look close enough to the people who we have in this show, so maybe that will work. Question mark. And this is the Disney hiring strategy of 2023. This is where we're at now. Hey, Rob say, yeah, we have plenty of native representation in Killers of the Flower Moon, but apparently there's even woke people complaining about that too. So who knows here?
Oh,
I don't
yes,
know, bro. I
because
think
they were
I
so
think they need to, discuss this Blackfeet tribe because it doesn't fall in line with modern day audiences and whatnot. That's disrespectful to yeah. I think it's problematic.
Want to complain?
I'm puzzled by how having the Blackfeet be.
Don't you realize it? We're living in 2023, bro. Everything from back in the day needs to fall in line with modern day. What is socially acceptable?
Yeah, that's literally where we're at now with entertainment. So,
well, like I said, I keep arguing the same thing. Who is the target audience? I was not aware
Native
of that.
American people or people who are very sympathetic to Native American people.
One-legged, deaf, mute, possibly lesbian Native Americans were that underrepresented because it's such a.
Because you know what, in Disney's mind, they think that there's gonna be some one-legged, one-armed Native American 8-year-old girl out there who may be gay or transgender. Because I mean, that's how I think about kids these days. But they're gonna think that one little girl is gonna watch this trailer and be like, "Finally, I have someone on TV who looks like me."
I could understand up to a point the idea of having a disabled person or a deaf person or a lesbian, even though again in terms of population gay characters are overrepresented in television and film compared to the actual population.
Yes.
And Native American, I can understand that, but blending them all together into one seems to almost veer towards parody and pandering, frankly, parody and pandering, to suggest that there's just a specific character. And again, we don't really know anything about. I mean, I haven't because I never saw Hawkeye. I really didn't care. But what is her character? I mean, the trailer, all we saw is Kingpin beating up on someone who made fun of her. And so you shouldn't make fun of people who are deaf, but you don't try to kill them or literally kill them. I mean, for that, it just seems a little extreme.
Well, he's a villain, so it makes sense why he would do that. But
why her? I mean, I guess it'll be explained in the episodes. Although I'll say that for 5 episodes, you might as well just have released it as a film, because with some trimming, you can. It's almost a feature film length. What now? 5 hours?
Are they half-hour episodes?
Well, no. If they're hour episodes, you could still have cut some things and released it like a 3.5-hour film, like Killers of the Flower Moon. Only include an intermission so that people, won't be upset. I don't know. Just
I don't even want to go to the theater to see a fucking masterpiece like Killers of the Flower Moon for 3.5 hours. Imagine going to the theater to see that hot steaming pile of dog shit.
But it will have I guess it'll have all these other characters like Kingpin, and I figure what's the other one? Daredevil.
Exactly.
I couldn't remember.
You're to your point exactly. Let's move on, sir.
I
struggling.
Struggling. That's sad. Go ahead.
When it comes to my excitement, I'm pretty much going to pull a page out of Victor's book from Underworld 3. I'm awash with it. The fact that I still have Disney Plus is the breadth of my magnanimity.
Well, I mean, with Disney Plus, you'll also get the race swapped Peter Pan and the lost children, because they can't be boys anymore. So you've got that. and now little girls can dream of being lost boys.
I mean, when it comes to or everybody knows, when it comes to in my household with Disney Plus, it's like, if you watch this, I cancel my subscription. I go full fucking tyrant if I'm the one paying for Disney Plus. It's like, if you support any of this crap that I do not want supported, I will cancel the fucking subscription.
You might as well cancel now, because I mean, it's Disney Plus. I mean, there's already chock full of that before you even pay for the subscription.
Yeah, but there's also stuff in there that I do like freaking Darby O'Gill and Little People.
Well, you'll never find one of our dinosaurs is missing, because I actually remember that from the Disney Channel, and I love that. But because you got Peter Ustinov in Yellowface, it's really evil now. It's like, Birth of a Nation
you have
at this
Disney
point.
Plus, bro?
Oh no, I don't. I
Me?
don't. But
Yeah.
I have it only because, well, I wanted the older stuff to watch the older stuff, and that's basically why I have Disney Plus. I don't watch any of the new stuff.
There's not even enough old stuff on there to justify Disney Plus. The only old show on there that I even remotely interested in would be So Weird. They won't even put the jersey on Disney Plus because they don't own the rights to a lot of the sports teams and the sports stars that appeared on that show. So outside of that, I mean, there's really nothing draw.
Swiss Family Robinson, freaking The Absent-Minded Professor, Darby O'Gill and the Little People. All these things were on Disney Plus that I watched and still watch every now and
physical
then.
copies of this?
Darby O'Gill and the Little People,
you can get digital copies of it. I don't
The closest freaking place where I can get good digital or good physical media is like an hour and a half away.
Amazon,
I mean, I could order
eBay,
it on
bro.
Amazon, sure.
Hell yeah.
I don't do, but I
There's
kind of keep mine.
There's only two things that interest me with Disney Plus. That is X-Men Evolution, because that shit is fire. You actually can't get physical media that. Sadly, I've tried. And then there's what's it called? The Mighty Ducks cartoon series. Can't find that shit. Other than that, I couldn't give a single fuck, and everything that they have on there that I like, I own physically, man. Fuck.
I'm
that.
still waiting for the Not Quite Human and Not Quite Human 2 to be released. All right. Other than that, I have no interest. But
I don't even know what that is.
Remembering that cartoon, Cassie. So many people missed out on that.
Oh, I remember it too.
Badass thing from my childhood.
I had the toys and everything, dog.
I had
the Mighty Ducks motorcycle, bro, that shot the hockey puck out of it. That shit was fire,
Nice.
bro. That was my shit, man.
I've never even
Do you all remember Street Sharks?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
It was
do
awesome.
I love
remember
that freaking
it.
show,
It's
man.
awesome.
Exactly.
But when it comes to Echo, when they finally
Aw.
release it,
Man, you
for
are such a
once, I'm not the
buzzkill.
one that went off on tangents. When it's finally released on Disney Plus, who do they really think is going to be watching? Who really
Parents tying their kids to the freaking couch and freaking putting those things in their eyes from A Clockwork Orange. And the kids are going to be like, "No, please don't! I beg you."
It's supposed to tie.
I'll behave. I'll eat my vegetables.
To more MCU material. It's not going to be isolated from other things. Maybe it'll tie into She-Hulk. You never know. So maybe she'll end up, going to Los Angeles and joining and being the private investigator for She-Hulk. I don't know. I don't know who the target audience is. I don't know why you have to narrow down the character to such a specific set of identities. You really should discover the character based on what the character does. I mean, if you can have a disabled character, great. If you can have a Native American character, great. If you could have a deaf character, great. But
She has to be all the things, Rick.
Yes,
she has to be all the things.
By putting
All
all
or
of them
none.
into one character, it does
Oh my
lend to
God.
the idea that they're going so specific that it almost becomes a joke. It becomes like
Yeah.
literal Kids in the Hall sketch.
Look,
They
It
fuck
became a
all this
joke the second they
MCU shit.
pitched it.
Who cares about this MCU bullshit? I just seen the funniest tweet today. This motherfucker actually tweeted, lesbians with BBLs just be wasting everyone's time, yo.
I don't even know what the hell a BBL is.
Oh,
A
Brazilian butt lift.
butt lift.
Yeah, it's one of those Kim Kardashian, Nicki
What the hell is
Minaj.
a Brazilian butt lift?
So I need to let you know you need to brace yourself. This is the most badass cartoon intro you're ever going to see in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
On the road to glory, ain't no turning back.
They're from
Remember
space.
90s
Space
like
Here come the mighty ducks. Yeah, I
Back
remember
when
the
they had
McDonald's
legit
toys.
freaking rock bands doing songs for shows, man.
Mhm.
And if it wasn't for Howard the Duck, they wouldn't have this.
My favorite character in this show disappeared in the first fucking episode, and I was depressed.
Started smoking crack as a result.
Fuck, wasn't it? You're like, yeah.
I've never
What?
even seen any of the movies.
No,
No.
it was Kennard.
Well, you're a
Kennard was a
Oh.
fucking G.
Yep.
Yeah, so Echo, greatest show of all time. We're gonna review all 5 episodes when it comes out next year. So look forward to that.
I'm going to need
Already have it
instructions
marked in my
because
Are you seriously trying to provoke my sociopathy?
I'm going to need help with that because I don't have Disney Plus, so I don't know how I'm going to watch these shows.
How about this? You get Disney Plus, or you're just SOL. How about that?
I'll get you in touch with Captain Jack Sparrow.
That's for Rick
so you can
because
sail
Rick
the
doesn't
high
believe in
seas.
piracy. So I'm just telling Rick what his options are.
Well, I did get Peacock so I could watch They Them, and I still have
Mhm.
it. So, all right. Just remind
Homie,
me.
Look, hold up. You think I'm gonna give that 0.01% chance of getting caught doing some things on the internet for fucking Echo, dog? Of all the fucking bullshit, Echo?
Echo is the Citizen
Yes.
Kane of television.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Oh
You
boy.
need to accept that, Cassie.
The
I mean,
citizen
it's-
can Kane have one leg?
yes.
Was he
Well,
Native
And he was a
American and
Native
deaf?
American lesbian, yes.
Mhm.
ooh,
I'm just looking to see if the lesbian part is in fact confirmed during this series, because I've been saying possibly lesbian because I mean, look, she's already all the things. Why not be gay too? So I just want that the satisfaction of just knowing that.
Check it, nigga gay.
Mm-hmm.
and probably
Right,
who knows,
maybe
maybe Lily Gladstone will pop in at the final episode, and we'll find out that she's the direct descendant of one of the Osage.
No, Triple Z. None of them are hot lesbians. This isn't 1998 anymore. They all look like the
That
cast
kinda
of Orange is the New Black now. They either look like that or they look like the WNBA players. Like there's no more hot lesbians in 2023.
Yo,
That's
you
that
look
kinda
at
lesbian.
Echo. If you look at a face shot of Echo, you're like, oh, this bitch got to be 500 pounds. And somehow she's not. How the
Right.
fuck does that work?
Mm-hmm.
She probably lost that fucking leg because of diabetes.
Now, yeah. So I'm gonna have to know. Like, okay, I'm trying to ask the date so I could watch all 5 episodes, and because I'm gonna need a whole day off so I could watch them. But jokes aside, think about it. This show didn't it go from like 8 to then 6 and now to 5 episodes. So how much
Because it's
story?
amazing.
How much story could there be if they had no issue cutting down the number of episodes? Normally, you would go for 13 episodes, maybe 12. I don't know how it is with the Disney Plus shows, but to cut down so many episodes means that you have less and less story to tell. And of course, you have to always remember people will want to make a season 2. So you have a one season of 5 episodes. How are you going to get more, because ultimately the whole point of a show is to get more seasons, more episodes produced. You don't aim to make a show with just 5 episodes and call it a day. Especially the MCU, which has been going on for like what, 15 years, 20 years, I don't know. Think about it. Tom Holland was like what, 11 years old. Harry Styles was 14, and both of them are now going to be part of the MCU. Both of them were like in elementary school or maybe middle school when this whole thing started, and now they're the faces. You're going to put the face of the MCU. One of them was someone who was literally a child, like 11 years old when this whole thing started. So you're not going to make a show that's going to be 5 episodes and that's it. Or are you? Is that really the goal?
Yes.
Yes.
Good grief.
Oh man. So yeah, Echo, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing. Everyone's gonna love it. Yeah, no Sugarfoot. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
this should be dead.
I've never heard that expression until now.
Well,
Who
let's
wants
end
to
the
explain
show.
it?
Well, let's end this show on a rant here, because this was a recent revelation which stuns me and pretty much everyone else on the internet. She-Hulk, which I think we can all universally agree may be the worst television show ever. And I say that because if you try to think of any show that's legitimately worse than She-Hulk, you're going to have struggled to find one, because I don't think it exists. But the revelation came out that apparently this television show cost $225 million to produce. The worst TV show ever cost $250 million. I just love this headline here too. This is money laundering. It's like, yes, it really is.
Yeah. That's the only conclusion I came to.
Holy shit. I love that. Who said that?
It had to be a Twitter user. There's no way here. But
so somebody give that man an award, or that person an award.
So She-Hulk was revealed to have a budget of $25 million per episode. I believe there was 10 episodes in total. So of course that gives you to actually had to be a little bit less than that, but the quarter of $225 million was the total budget for the entire series. It was a massive disappointment. The writing was absolutely abysmal. The entire point of the show is that men are bad, men are pigs, and She-Hulk shouldn't have to live down her cousin or something like that because he's a male and she's better than him. It was literally just like episodes of absolutely nothing. It was one of the worst written shows I've ever seen. People on the internet tried to pretend like it was a good show because they wanted to stick it to the incels, but you notice the second that show ended, no one talked about She-Hulk ever again. And the reaction to this, keep in mind, apparently the one episode of this had a bigger budget than like the final season of like Game of Thrones. So you compare Game of Thrones to She-Hulk and you'll realize that She-Hulk costs significantly more money. So people were asking, if this whole thing cost $225 million to produce, where in the absolute hell did all the money go? Because there's no possible way that you could have produced such garbage on a budget of $225 million. Now, there's been a lot of tweets on here. I'm not sure if they're going to pull up on here because I think some of the framing here is messed up. The people were like, "This is money laundering. Ain't no way. There has to be fraud going on here." It says, "I'm convinced this is some kind of money laundering. All that money in the show wasn't even that good, and the special effects look seriously struggled. If that's what happens when you rush things, don't properly pay people. Like, who makes this stuff? Where did the money go? It didn't go to the actors or the VFX workers. We know that. It said inflated budgets for tax reasons. I guess it makes no sense." It said, "Why did they steal 3/4 of it? Like, where the hell did the money go?" Like, people are like, you can't even comprehend in your mind how a show like She-Hulk cost nearly $250 million to produce. There was absolutely nothing in that film worthy of that price tag whatsoever. So for those of you guys who watch the series, you could pretty much know exactly what's going on here. For you guys, $225 million to produce one of the worst shows ever. What is your? I'll start with Orange Hat. Like, they have to be stealing this money, right? There's no way they paid people to produce that for that amount of film. Like, where's that money going?
Mostly into Tim Roth's pocket, because Tim Roth is the only big biggest name actor in the damn show. I mean, the guy's been acting for decades. But as for, I mean, one of the things that actually surprised me was Star Wars Theory's video on his reaction to this news. He fucking flipped, man. He's like, I am so done with this shit. He freaking flipped his mind. Now, I don't always agree with Star Wars Theory on his shit, but that was, I'm like, dude's waking up, but damn, dude, you're waking up kind of late to the game. But as for the like She-Hulk, I know, right? As for She-Hulk, where did it all go? Because there was that scene where she walks around the corner and it just looks god fucking awful. And I'm thinking to myself, they just inserted her in. That is the worst insert I've ever seen. And believe me, folks, I'm a stickler for when it comes to CGI. If you have bad CGI, I'm hating your freaking thing, or I'm hating your freaking product. And I'm sorry, that was the worst CGI I have ever seen.
Is it worse than Game of Death though? When they put a poster of Bruce
I haven't seen that, so I wouldn't know. But man, this shit was worse than Power Rangers 90-something, 97 or 98. Or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie with Ivan Ooze. And that shit had CGI so bad that it's today's previs. Essentially.
So the money with the thing is that those guys in the VFX department came out and said they were doing 80-hour work weeks. Then we got James Gunn coming out and saying that they have like fractured scripts. They don't even have scripts. They rewrite things mid-filming. They have they piece it together like a Lego, like a Lego set. And so we put those two pieces together. The reason why you have that character look so shitty coming around that corner, Roy and Chad, is because it was likely a reshoot. And it had to be done before the thing was supposed to go live so many months from when it was. So they didn't have the proper amount of time to put into it like they did, say, her twerking scene. So...
Well, also they had to give Megan Thee Stallion her cut. They had to give.
Well, that's just that episode, but I'm talking about like the CGI with that. They didn't have enough time to put the CGI into.
It was mostly reshoot problems,
right? And this is the trouble that they had with this. That's why I guarantee you, Jacob. That's why it was $25 million an episode. Because I guarantee you, I promise you, most of those episodes had to have reshoots done, and those reshoots had to do with She-Hulk herself. They ran up against the limitations of the CGI and they had to redo shots, and it still looked like shit, but it looked a lot worse with their original concept. I have a feeling.
Not to mention, they also had to give the porn industry a little bit of a cut because of all the freaking sex shit that they were putting in it.
Yeah, I'm sure Disney owns that too. Why not?
There's literally an entire episode of She-Hulk dedicated to some dude who she banged and didn't call her back the next morning. They spent almost $30 million on that entire episode. Like somebody here got fleeced. I don't know exactly who it was, but somebody got robbed. They should probably file a police report based on this whole project.
I mean, definitely. I mean, this She-Hulk is a good character. Or I liked the character of She-Hulk when I was little because I liked the show that they did and whatnot. Plus, she was a Hulk, and I was a huge fan of the Hulk family. But when I saw this, it's like, are you fucking out of your mind, man? You are out of your. This is not She-Hulk. This is. I can't even fucking come up with anything because I got. It makes me brain dead just trying to think about it.
Good pun.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I said abomination.
Yeah, it is an abomination, man.
Yeah, and because abomination was in the show, that was a joke.
No, that was just bull. Or even that one was just like, oh yeah, I'm totally fine. I'm reformed. It's like, what?
Cassie, if I gave you $225 million, you couldn't spend it on crack. How would you possibly go about burning that much money in such a short period?
Now you got it, Jacob.
Punch the camera, Cass. Punch the camera.
First off, I think what would go burn through instantaneously most of that would be collecting the entire GameCube library. I don't know if you guys know, but all those games are like retarded like prices. So if I want to burn money, I would go down that route, then go after a bunch of the other older titles that I have a hard time getting. I would definitely make sure to scoop up the oh man, a bunch of those old MCU games back when Marvel
Yep.
games back when Marvel was on fire back then before the MCU and all that bullshit. But I could find ways. It wouldn't be that hard. It wouldn't be that hard. But I guys, look, I think that they were onto something with She-Hulk secretly. I know you guys may not agree with me, but I think if they only spent about $200 million more dollars, I think that they would have had something there. I wish that they would continue. Please just burn more fucking money. Put everything in. You put $100 million more dollars into Echo. I'm sure that if you put that much more money into it, it would actually not look like a hot steaming pile of shit. If you guys have any integrity at all, you'll continue to spend more and more money on all this stuff. Like clearly, I think that all this money could eventually make a difference. So please burn more of it. Thank you.
She wants them to go so far into debt, which I know you can't.
I mean, they're doing a pretty good job of it right now. So I mean,
yeah, they are.
This is proof.
I'm right there with her.
This is proof positive that you can spend an inordinately large amount of money and not have a good product or a good end result. This $225 million, I think, is actually larger than the budget for Killers of the Flower Moon. I think the budget for Kills of Flower Moon.
I think it actually is.
Yeah,
like, 200,
yeah, it's 200 million. I think it's estimated at 200 million. Disney spent 25 million more on what? I mean, the scripts, the actors. Probably a lot of this money went towards, I'm assuming, the effects, the visual effects, which I've not seen, so I can't render an opinion whether they're good or bad. But it certainly wasn't in the scripts, and I don't know what else they would spend all this money. We're not going to get an accounting of it. It's not like Disney's going to open up its ledgers and have us go through all of this. But assuming I'm figuring again that they want a season 2, or they plan to have a season 2, if the bigwigs don't think that spending $225 million on a television show that has not been well received and is not very popular, they really need to cut back on their budget and maybe rethink the whole premise of the whole Disney Plus MCU television shows. It's a lot of
Rick,
money.
let me just ask you this question. At what point during this entire show have we given the impression that Disney is willing to look back and say, maybe we should reconsider what we're doing?
Well, maybe when they finally defrost Uncle Walt and they bring him back, once he's locked, when he's locked away in that Disney vault where they keep all the original copies of all this, they
accidentally shattered him when they went back into the vault the last time, so he ain't coming back.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind. Uncle Walt, sorry. But no, I mean, what's the expression? Throwing good money after bad. It's a waste of money, and the idea that no one, if I had been on the board and I would have said, you spent how much on this show, or did it make any money for us? No. Is it well received? No. What are the critical reviews?
You're fine. Yeah, exactly. Like, you're fine. Like, what more do we need to say at that point? It's like, you're done.
After those two, you're fired, man.
Yeah.
Look, the thing is, it's like time and time again, even pre-woke bullshit is proven money cannot replace talent. I think X-Men 3 is a great example of that. Like, the director of X-Men 2 said, I'm going to go do Superman. I'm going to take all the writers of X2 and we're going to take Cyclops and we're going to go do Superman. And Fox was like, okay, we'll just dump $100 million into X-Men 3. That'll fix everything, right? Provably, no. I like X-Men 3 as a film. It has a high production, but it's not a good X-Men film. It's not a good story. You cannot, no matter, you could dump
a F ton more of money into these, into these shows, into these films. It will not replace talent. If you want to have this bullshit ass agenda where you have to provably hire a less talented individual just because they're fucking transgender individual or because they happen to not be fucking white, then this is what you're gonna have to deal with. Losing fucking money. Congratulations, you dick faces. You've forsaken all talent for the sake of pushing your dog shit. And you are suffering because of it. And I love to watch you motherfuckers suffer. What the fuck?
Yeah, that was a browser crash. I had nothing to do with that.
You ranted him right off the stream.
You literally split him in half with your rant.
No, that's crazy. Wait, what? Oh man.
Yeah, no, Cassie's absolutely right on this. Money cannot replace talent. You could have the biggest budget, you could have lavish ending, but that's not going to get you a good film or a good television show. You need to have the creatives behind it. They probably spent more money on probably what Thor: Love and Thunder than they did on, let's say, Iron Man. Which one do you think is ultimately better? A budget. Sometimes being on a low budget forces you to be creative, and you have to you have to make do with what you have. Here they gave them so much money, they said let's just blow it on anything, and the end results have not been
Like,
very successful.
these people are such like sneevy little like rats. It's like they can't even use the excuse that they blew all their money on cocaine and hookers, because we know they're a bunch of like weirdo squares. So it's like honestly, where did this money go? Someone's cooking the books. It's like I'm pretty sure like the IRS or like the FBI or something like that, they would have a field day looking at Disney's like accounting books right now.
It went to buying children's blood. What do you think it went to, bro?
I mean, they had to freaking sacrifice a few kids on the
Mm.
altar of wokeness
It-
and
Yeah,
make sure
or-
that they gave enough blood to the actors. Yeah.
It
Or
reminds me
Moloch.
of it reminds me a
No.
bit of the Elizabeth Taylor Cleopatra, where the finances at Fox were so bad that it was literally the only film that they could fund. But I think Joe Mankiewicz said, right now there's probably an executive in Hong Kong, a Fox executive in Hong Kong, and he's hired 2 hookers and he's billed it to my movie because there's literally nowhere else that you can bill anything from the studio. In the same way, they've just spent so much money on this that it's not there. You could spend spend all the money that you want, but you're not going to have a good product. And are we getting a She-Hulk 2?
No.
Season 2?
No. The one of the chicks who was in there already went on to do another show on CBS. And that's usually a good indication that this show's pretty much dead on the water.
They need to send Tatiana Maslany back to frickin' Canada.
I support
Yeah.
She-Hulk too.
Well, I mean,
Make it
there's a
happen.
lot of Canadians we need to send back, if we're being honest with you. I mean, I truly believe that we built a border on the wall.
Cassie, were you just blackmailed to say that or something?
No, I support it. I want
Oh.
them to make a She-Hulk too. I want it to be another hot steaming pile of shit that they spend another $225 million on. When the fact of the matter is, when you have talented people, you spend less money. Look at John Carpenter with all the shoestring budget films he has pieced together that are fucking long-standing classics. When you have untalented people working, you spend more money. So continue to have untalented people working for you.
There's no one watching the production. There was no one who said this is too much, you're spending too much on XYZ, or just overseeing the show, because I haven't really heard anything positive. Even the people who normally love to shill for all of these products, they can't find it in their hearts to say yes, She-Hulk is great. Well, I haven't checked what my favorite kid has said. He might like it because he likes everything.
Everything. It's sad and pathetic at this point. But final thoughts on this one before we wrap things up here for tonight.
Think of all the children that they could have fed with that $225 million.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
There you go.
Yeah, but if you feed him, how are you going to sacrifice him?
Well,
think about that?
you'll get them more, you'll get them more plump, and then they'll have more meat that you can
Oh,
devour.
shit. There you go. Getting dark. I like it.
Yeah. Neozoic here has a final question for us before we get out of here. Which is worse, the MCU shows or the CW DC shows? Honestly, I think the CW
MCU.
shows lap the MCU shows that we've been receiving here. It's like, say what you want about like Flash or or was it Green Arrow? Can you think of a single Disney MCU show that is anywhere near quality of those shows?
Nope. The MCU sucked completely where the Arrowverse actually had some quality seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I was heavy into Arrow.
I mean, the only quality
3 seasons.
the only quality Marvel shows are the Netflix shows, and Disney has gone out of their way to completely disassociate themselves with those shows. So we're not giving them credit for that. So what do you got?
I mean, Arrow actually went or had like 5 or 6 good seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
yeah.
Well, a lot of I've not seen any of these shows, but I understand that at least some of the early Flash seasons were well liked.
First
And
3.
I think maybe the first season of Supergirl. I don't remember.
First season of Supergirl was good. The second season was where it started going off hill or off. And that was because CBS actually had control of Supergirl.
Yeah, I think I saw the
CBS
first
was good.
season. I think I saw the first season. But I've not been enamored of those. But this $225 million for any TV show is just strange. If Game of Thrones spent less money for a whole, for a whole season compared to this, it's just bizarre. I don't know. I don't want to say that it's money laundering, but maybe some people did skim a little off the
Might
top.
as well be.
Mm-hmm.
It might as well be.
If it's not money laundering, then there's a bigger concern going on here.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Maybe,
then. Well,
maybe they sent it to the Ukraine. I don't know.
That could be that too, but like all our other money's going up the books. Well, look, guys, we come to the end of our show here. We're gonna go ahead and wrap things up and chill everything that we got coming up here. I think we should go ahead and start with Rick and get him out of the way because I mean, no one really cares about what he's got going on. So, Rick, what you got coming up, man?
I'm actually getting better at my reviews, my weekly haikus. I'm both pleased and saddened that my Life with Lucy retrospective is coming to an end. I'm now about to wrap up my my end for that turning point, which they should have spent the 225 million on Life with Lucy instead. That's pretty much it. Just more reviews, more haikus, and no more Lucy. I'm sorry.
Thank God. Join over to our good buddy Cider. You got some plans coming up in the future there, Cider?
No.
Okay, then. Jumping over to our good buddy Orange Hat. What do you got coming up?
Well, tomorrow I'm on my friend Mara's channel for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 90 movie for 1s and 2s, and next week we're going to be doing Secret of the Ooze. Thursday, I got my channel for the singles for The Crow. Friday, I'm going to be Friday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, I'm going to be doing talk about the 2010 remake of The Wolfman with my buddy MD Geeks. Saturday, I'm going to be on my friend Geek Detective Pierce's channel for talking Mask of the Phantasm and Epilogue to Justice League Unlimited because they're connected. Sunday is concluding the Lord of the Rings trilogy extendeds with Return of the King. And Tuesdays are here, and in the afternoon, I also do Jason Bourne Tuesdays with the month of November. So, yeah, that's basically what I got so far.
All right. Jumping over to our good friend Cassie. What you got coming up, Cass?
I got the Two Real Feels podcast this Thursday. It's gonna be interesting. Might actually get a GTA 6 reveal trailer, it's rumored, so we'll see about that. But yeah, guys, if you haven't, check out a new video I just dropped today discussing Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and the future of Insomniac with the Spider-Man IP. So yeah, that's interesting. But good show as always, guys.
All right, then letting you guys know what we got coming up here on this show for the next couple days. So Friday night at 10 p.m., we're gonna be reviewing the latest episode of the longest running soap opera in cinematic history, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because the Marvels come out this year. The Marvels. And or this week, I should say, and it's gonna be a Brie Larson's fest, and then the other two chicks that are in the film. We're gonna review that movie on Friday night, so that should be a good one to check out. Saturday night, we're doing another movie night, and we're watching Scream 2 this weekend. So Cassie had a great time for our last film, Chasing Poppy, this Saturday. So I can only imagine how hyped she's going to be for Scream 2, because says she's gone out of her way to duck this movie for the last like 25 years, and it's all going to come to an end this Saturday night when we watch Scream 6. So so that's coming up this Saturday night. We actually did a really good show last night with the Bible Ends podcast. Nerdigans was on last night, and if y'all know Nerdigans, it's kind of entertaining to watch her not talk about anime for a while. So if you haven't gone back and watched that episode, go watch it. It's still on our channel up here. Next week, hopefully we can have her back, because we are talking about another issue about who is God's elect on the Bible Ends podcast, as episode 18 coming up on Monday night. Then of course Tuesday we'll be go back to our regularly scheduled podcast talking about just the stupidity of Hollywood and all the dumb things that are going on now. So yeah, this is pretty much Marvel week, but I mean, look, Rob, there's a lot of things that are better than Scream 5. That's not saying much. I mean, everything except for like Scream 6 is better than Scream 5. That's all we have to say there. It's not a good show. But for all you guys who have joined me here on the podcast here, I'm gonna try to get as many shout outs over here as possible for everyone who joined us here tonight. Spencer, Niels, exactly. Spencer, Neil Zoic, Duke Nukem, Volume Dealer, Doba Fett joining us here tonight. Vanya joining us. Ruptov Korean, Triple Z joining us here tonight. Eddie Brock, JEC, Kate giving you a shout out as well. Alex versus Evil gave him a shout out already. Who else do we have on our show tonight? Okay, Army 85, Energy 85 as well. Want to make sure I get everyone before we cancel out here. And that's all that's showing on my end. I think I may have lost some of the guys when the screen shot out. So if I didn't shoot out this week, I just want.
Oh, well, we might be stuck.
Well, folks, he just wanted to shout you all out, and he'll get back to you when he comes back. So
yeah, and I'm gonna go.
Yeah, good show. We had fun.
Wow, he's not back yet. That's bad.
Yeah, this is getting really awkward.
He's still not back yet. This might be for real. I don't know.
The MCU finally did him in.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
It might be back. I don't know. He disappeared, so.
All right, Colin Society Reviews. Society Reviews, please report.
F in the chat for society.
Has he disappeared into the multiverse? I'm worried.
I don't know. We didn't get a variant Jacob that time, so I don't know.
Well, we had a double. We remember he
right,
actually...
the variant Jacob.
Yeah, I know. That was pretty cool.
Oh dear.
Keep the show going. We should hijack the show. Well,
yeah,
guys, just
can't
so you know,
share a screen. So.
I mean,
so I will just say,
where do we go from here?
Well, the Spider-Man 2 video game, which of course I've not played, is the greatest game ever made, according to my child. According to my child, I've now adopted him. He's probably old enough to be my son, but he has also declared it the greatest show. I mean, the greatest video game ever made. Just like
he obviously hasn't played GoldenEye for the N64 yet.
Well, that game did not age well, dog. That game.
I still play it, so shut up.
That's rough. Well, it was great for its time, though. I ain't mad at you, bro. It's definitely goated, but damn, that game did not stand.
I also enjoyed playing Turok 2.
I'm
But
curious.
you also don't play modern video games either.
Well, no, they suck. So,
No,
I mean, the
They
most
at least
modern
have-
video game that I will play is AVP for the Xbox
Need to play
360.
RoboCop, baby. That shit is fire.
It is.
I have a quick update here. I'm looking at Saturday's screening for, I guess, the large screen for the Marvels. So far, I have 15 seats sold.
The only way I'm going to see that movie is if somebody else fucking pays for my ticket.
No, well, my friend actually was excited to see it, and so it's a belated birthday gift for him, and we're going to see it. And like, but the weird thing is, it's on a Friday, and a lot of businesses are going to be closed for observance of Veterans Day. I know that Veterans Day falls on Saturday this year, but I know the banks and the library is closed on Friday to observe Veterans Day. So they're like, I think maybe 17 seats sold for that screening, and it's on the large screen. Now, I don't know, I don't think it's IMAX, but it's on the large screen for 17 seats to be sold right now. I mean, they could still sell more, but it's highly unlikely. Some of the theaters look a little empty, and it's very strange. I mean, for one screen,
It's
like,
it's the Marvels. Who cares? My question is, how do you observe Veterans Day the day before Veterans Day? How does that work?
because a
You
lot
look to the
of
future.
because a lot of the city departments work Monday through Friday, and so the holiday falls on a Saturday this year, so they will be closed on Friday and Saturday.
Nah,
and
make
Sunday.
them work. Make them work.
No,
The way that you guys
this
gonna
is
watch
the government.
You guys gonna watch the Ghostbusters 4 trailer tomorrow?
There's a Ghostbusters 4 trailer.
Is it?
Yeah, it drops tomorrow.
sequel to Afterlife?
Yes, sequel to Afterlife.
I mean, I
Well,
haven't seen Afterlife.
It's actually pretty good, Cass.
Yeah, I've heard that it's pretty decent.
They did it right. They respected him right.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, they didn't have Chris Hemsworth
Magic.
dancing, so I don't know how.
Yeah, and
good
that's
that
why
could be.
that's why it was good.
I saw that
Yes,
with my friend Fidel, and he and I agreed it wouldn't have been funny with men.
Oh, thank
regardless.
God.
Yeah, so I don't know what the hell just happened there. My entire internet just hard crashed for like 10 minutes. That's like the first time that
happened. That fucking happened to me a couple days ago when I was doing, or back when I think it was